Good afternoon once again to our listeners on Parliament Radio 105.5 FM, our viewers on the Parliament channel, and those of you joining us on the World Wide Web, on the Parliament's channel, on the Parliament's YouTube channel, ParlView, or via our website, www.ttparliament.org. We are just a few seconds away from the resumption of the Day 4 of the Standing Finance Committee of the House of Representatives. Ministry of Education is currently being examined. This will be followed by the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs, the Statutory Authorities Service Commission, Service Commissions Department, Ministry of Public Administration and Communications, the Ministry of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, Registration, Recognition and Certification Board, and the Ministry of Labour and Small Enterprise Development. Upon the conclusion of these 8 heads, we expect that tomorrow there will be another 8 heads examined, following which the estimates will be reported to the House, and the bill read a third time and passed. We go back now to the chamber.
All rise for the chair.
We now resume the Standing Finance Committee meeting, and we are at item 007 under subhead 04 at page 204, item 007, households. Member for Caroni East.
The Student Support Services Program, line item 15. There is a reduction in terms of the expenditure that was made in 2016, 10.5 million, and now it's back down to 5 million. Could the Minister give us an indication of what is the issue there in terms of why has it been reduced from 5 to 5 million from an expenditure of 8.5 the previous year? A decrease of 3.5 million. Student Support Services Division, Honorable Minister. 204, page 204, line item 15. Have you reduced the amount of student support services officers?
Your question, please.
I'll ask it again. There's a reduction of 3.5 million in the Student Support Services Division of the MOE, down from 8.5 to 5 million. Does this mean that there is a reduction of the amount of personnel in the Student Support Services Division? If it isn't, what does it represent?
I cannot safely say that this will result in a reduction of personnel. I know in the Student Support Services Division, we have approximately 500 persons.
A little more.
Yes. And that is an area that we are looking at very closely. But at this point, I can't honestly say whether this will be a reduction. It's something that we look at.
What you attribute it to from what you...
What? Sorry?
From examination of this, what do you attribute this reduction to be?
It might mean traveling. That could be one of the areas.
You will look into it?
Yes, we look into it.
Yeah, because that's a division you don't want to read.
And that is a division that provides a lot of support to our students.
Yeah, and helps in the reduction of crime and violence and so on.
Yes, exactly.
So I exhort that you look into that. That's the question I have for there.
Member for Shogunas East.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Honourable Minister, I notice on line item 18, page 204, there has been a 7.1 decrease in the allocation to the TTHCI. Might you be able to indicate to us the impact of this decrease?
As I have been saying all along, all these programs that have suffered a cut, we have been given the assurance that it will not result in a cutback on services or on personnel.
Okay.
Our Minister of Finance has promised that he's going to look into it, and if there is need for any adjustments, those adjustments will remain.
Okay, thank you. The follow-up on item number 19. Quite a number of persons have been losing their jobs in the country. Some of them also need to be retooled. This reduction of 7.3 million for the training of displaced workers, might you be able to indicate to us how many persons will now be able to be trained with that 10 million allocation in 2017?
This is one of the areas where YTEP has been providing service. And again, I am not in a position to say if there will be any persons who will be displaced. In fact, our Minister of Finance, in his wisdom, told us to indicate to the YTEP authorities that they are to proceed as usual.
Okay.
And for Shogunas East?
Okay, thank you. Line item 27. Again, another substantial cut with the MyPad program. Honourable Minister, are these trainees, have their stipends been cut as well?
No.
Okay, and are you going to continue to utilize the facilities at Puerto Presto and Chatham in addition to Point Lisas for the MyPad program?
The facilities at Puerto Presto and Chatham, we are looking at upgrading those facilities so that our young persons will have an opportunity of being exposed to different trades. So yes, we will be upgrading those programs. We'll be looking into it.
Okay, so my question is, will there, it might be rhetorical based on what you said, will there be any closure of any of the...
No.
Member for Carolese?
Item 09, Honorable Minister, early childhood care and education. There has been a significant cut of $9.2 million from the $24 million expended in the revised estimates of 2016. Could you indicate where does this affect in the early childhood care and education system? 9.2 million less.
Remember, before lunch, I stated that we are in the process of rationalizing this whole ECCE program. So when this is done, it is our belief that the cost to the government of this program will be significantly less.
Well, are you aware that SOVOL provides help for over 72 ECC centers, and their budget is about $24 million. So if this is reduced to 15 million, how would we pay SOVOL there?
You remember, the Minister of Finance said that he has been having discussions with SOVOL where this is concerned.
All right. And in view of the protest that is taking place with early childhood education teachers, are you planning, how would you address their concerns at the moment?
Well, I met with them yesterday. I promised to have a more formal discussions. I don't want to say anything negative about that, but when we meet, when Minister Dr. Francis and myself and other senior officials of the Ministry of Education, when we meet with them, there are certain things that we have to put before them. Because we have information, we will not want to share that information or put it in public domain, but there are certain things we'll want to share with them.
All right. In view of your thrust to continue and expand the ECC, which we applaud you for, the question is that we do not want to see the discontinuation of any significant element of this program, and therefore a cut. We hope that it doesn't mean that parts of this program will not be severely affected.
As I have been saying all along, we had a national consultation on education in February this year, and the ECC sector focused, or there was a lot of focus placed on this program, so much so that it is now part of a report that is now before Cabinet. Pretty soon, with the assistance of the Attorney General, we will be proposing amendments to the Education Act so that this sector will be included in the Education Act. I say all this to just re-emphasize the point that we will not neglect the sector.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, so can we go on to item 009, other transfers at page 205? Member for Shogunas East.
How many persons are in the DLS, and how many persons are supposed to be employed in the DLS?
This is an area, sorry? How many? This is an area that we are looking at very, very carefully because, this distant learning program has blossomed into all different things. For example, an offshoot of this is the, I just can't remember the name of it right now, but we have been asked recently to assist in the construction of one of the centers. I can't remember the name. But we are looking at this sector, and at the moment there are only 2 persons who are employed.
Just 1 minute, Member for Carney is?
Honorable Minister, the National Schools Dietary Services Limited budget from item 02 on 011.
Oh, we haven't reached theirs yet.
Oh,
Member
all
for Shogunas East, do you have anything else on 00902?
No.
Okay, so item 011, transfers to state enterprises. Member for Carney East.
Yes, Madam Chairman, to the Honorable Minister, this 84 million cut in the school feeding program from approximately 230 million prior to this. Could you indicate where this cut is taking place in terms of the meals? Are you reducing the amount of school meals? Are you removing breakfast altogether? And are you going to put in a means test for the students? What is happening here?
I will defer to the Honorable Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. This is one of the areas that we have identified where there's a lot of wastage and quite possibly some corruption. So we think if we can cut out the waste and eliminate the corruption, we'll still be able to feed all of the children who need to be fed.
Well, at the moment, there are 155,000 meals per day at a cost of average $8 or $9 per day. Does it mean then that you will be cutting the cost of the meal or the amount of students that will be receiving the meals?
We'll be cutting out the wastage.
Well, I don't see a wastage at $8 a meal, nor $9 a meal, and the amount of students.
The question, the answer to the question...
Would you continue to provide meals for the 155,000 children who are receiving meals on a daily basis?
That is based on a false premise. There's no evidence that these children receive the meals.
Member for Shogunas East.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable Minister, in view of the fact that prices have gone up significantly, also the cost of transportation, since all these caterers will have their transportation, their vehicles and so on. Is there any consideration for increasing the price of these meals to schools?
My turn?
Yes, sir.
Well, we're going to buy local for starters. So, as part of the national thrust to conserve foreign exchange, to reduce the cost of government projects and programs, and also to have more healthy meals, we're going to buy local. And we're pretty certain that there's no need to increase the price. There's no need to continue to waste money in this program.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. Can I go on to another line? Sorry.
Carney East, are you still on the same? Yes.
Is the minister aware that in the provision of these meals for the children, at least 70% of the input is local? So when he says he's going to put more local, 70% is already there as local input into the meals. How is he going to reduce that?
Is that 2 questions?
That's 2 questions.
2 questions.
Answer the first question, no. So the
You're
second
not aware?
question doesn't apply.
You're not aware that 70% of the
No.
input? All right.
No.
Member for
You should become involved.
Shogunas. Okay, so can we go on now to
If I could go on to 08, Madam Chair.
08?
With respect to YTEP, Minister will recognize the almost $50 million there decrease. You did indicate to questions before, and I don't want to ask you to repeat ad nauseum in terms of the fact that no student will be denied access to training in spite of the fact that there's a reduced budget. Can you confirm or deny whether, in view of this 49.5, whether the cycle time, the contact hours for the skills training has changed, and whether, in fact, any centers will be mothballed with any other center.
Nothing has changed. Cycle 24 will continue as normal, and no two centers will be mothballed, according to you, into one.
Okay, so I just want to confirm that the contact hours for the vocational skills remain at 120 contact hours.
What we have been told is that nothing will change. Everything is going to proceed as normal.
Okay.
There are bigger classes.
Just a follow-up, if you don't mind. Now, I noticed one of your colleague minister indicated in an article recently about the performance of students in the education system, and he was lamenting the fact that literacy and numeracy skills were a concern. Is there any reason why the special version of the YTEP component has been disbanded?
What is the special version? Tell me, please.
Okay, the special version really emphasizes bringing proficiency skills to those trainees who have entered the program in terms of the deficiency with literacy and numeracy skills. So if it is that you are accentuating, promoting proficiency in that regard, I'll want to ask, will you consider reinstating the special version in terms of the competency outcome?
That will be subject to discussions with the YTEP authorities.
Okay. Subhead 06, current transfers to statutory boards and similar bodies. Page 205, 004, statutory bodies. Honorable members, we will now move on to the draft estimates of the revenue and expenditure of statutory boards and similar bodies of the Tobago House of Assembly. 01, National Institute of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology. Subhead 01, are we going on to another book? Subhead 01, Personal Expenditure, page 135. 001, General Administration, page 135. Member for Chaguanas East.
Madam Chair, with respect to the vacant posts, I noticed that there is no allocation at all in 2017. Is there any, is it that you have all your full complement in terms of Nehurst?
Who are you referring to, sir?
08.
Okay. Your question is, there's no allocation?
Yes. So does it mean that you are up to your full complement?
There's no allocation. No, there's no allocation. Yeah, there's no allocation here. For 2017. That is an area that we'll have to get more information, and we'll provide you with the answer.
Okay, sure. So, thank you.
Point of pair.
I'll wait when we get to that.
Naparima. Subhead 02, Goods and Services. 001, General Administration, pages 135 and 136. Subhead 03, Minor Equipment Purchases. 001, General Administration. Page 136. Subhead 04, Current Transfers and Subsidies, page 136. 007, Households, page 136. 12, Board of Industrial Training, subhead 01, Personnel Expenditure, page 141, 001, General Administration, page 141. Member for Shogunas East.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I noticed that there has been a substantial increase. Well, there wasn't thing that was used on 2016. Could you indicate whether a board has been appointed for the BIR? BIT, sorry?
No, a board has not yet been appointed.
So the expenditure here that will be incurred is where you have remuneration to board members. What is that for?
Well, in anticipation of the appointment of the board.
Okay. Salaries are item 01. Could you indicate to us how many persons are employed in that department, that unit?
There are 3 persons on board at present in that board. Right? But one is there and 2 others, they are in other ministries, but they are paid under this item here.
Subhead 02, Goods and Services, 001, General Administration, page 141. Subhead 04, Current Transfers and Subsidies, page 141, 009, Other Transfers, page 141. 13, Trinidad and Tobago National Commission for UNESCO. Subhead 01, Personnel Expenditure, 001, General Administration, page 146. Subhead 02, Goods and Services, 001, General Administration, page 146. Subhead 03, Minor Equipment Purchases, page 147. 001, General Administration, page 147. 56, College of Science, Technology, and Applied Arts of Trinidad and Tobago. Subhead 01, Personal Expenditure, page 152. 001, General Administration, page 152. Subhead 02, Goods and Services, page 152. 001, General Administration, page 152. Member for Point of Appeal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To the Honourable Minister, line item 08, rent lease, office accommodation and storage. The question is that now that COSTAT has now a new facility in Shogunas, and I'm assuming it is their now new head office, could the Minister clarify what will happen to the Deer Street, Port of Spain campus, that building that is rented?
That campus is rented. Just also on Melville Lane, those campuses.
Deer Street, Melville Lane, yeah.
Yes. That is rented. So as soon as things have been organized, the campus will move over to Shogunas, and therefore there will be no rent occurred to Burton Hall.
Okay. Does it follow up, Madam Chair? Do you have a time span when that will take place?
No, but we have been informed by the President that sometime after the budget, after we have concluded discussions on the budget, there will be a formal opening of the campus in Shogunas.
I look forward to my invitation.
Of course, you'll be invited.
If you're lucky.
Me too. Thank you, Madam Chair. Could Honourable Minister indicate the 2 facilities that you indicated were rented? What's the cost of the rental monthly?
I'll have to get that to you.
Are you finished, Shagona? Subhead 03, minor equipment purchases, page 153. Zero zero one, general administration, page 153. Subhead 04, current transfers and subsidies, page 153. 006, educational institutions, page 153, Shogunas East.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just two questions. First of all, how many nurses have been trained in the last fiscal year with 27 million? And also, I noticed in the newspaper today that there has been a clamor and a protest by approximately 100 nurses at Southwest for their stipends. Could you say whether the stipends are up to date? Well, I'll ask the other question. Let me just get this one first. In terms of how many persons graduated from the School of Nursing in 2016?
From Costat School of Nursing.
Costat, yeah. This is an item.
We'll supply with that information soon.
Okay. And with respect to the nurses at Southwest who have been protesting, 100 of them, they indicated that they will not pay their stipends. Can you say how many months have been owing to them?
Well, I am not aware of the protest. I'm not saying there's no protest. I'm not aware of the protest. And I am not aware of which group of nurses are protesting, because you know...
Remember, I have said that nobody is going to be lifting up newspapers or anything and displaying it. Please. Excuse me? Member, I would just ask everybody, we've just had lunch, and I would really like us to behave in a particular kind of civil and cordial manner. Minister of Education.
Yes, as I was saying, I am not sure which category of nursing trainees are involved in that protest. As you know, the training of nurses is done not only by Costat, but there are other agencies who are engaged in that training. So I really don't know. Not having seen the newspapers this morning.
Madam Chair, can I refer to the article?
You can.
Okay, you may want to read the Daily Express, page 17, where it says 100 plus students who are studying at Costat.
Costat, okay.
Yeah, Costat.
All right, that clarifies.
And I just wanted to ask if, when you're giving me something in writing, whether you could confirm whether the NIS is being deducted. There's a claim that NIS is not being deducted from the...
Okay, we'll provide you with that information.
Member for Miaro.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Minister, just under item 006, educational institution, in 2015, considerable spend was made at the Rio Claro East Secondary to outfit a portion of the school to have some Costat classes, and knowing that Costat is so critical for the students who are not going to the UTT and the tertiary education system, is there any intention of the ministry to continue that campus in Rio Claro in the next fiscal year?
Well, that will rest with the Costat's administration, the president and members of the board. They will decide.
007, households, page 153. Honorable members, we will now move on to the draft estimates of development program. We are therefore changing books. Subhead 09, development program, consolidated fund, page 80. Item 003, economic infrastructure, page 80. Item 004, social infrastructure, pages 81 to 83. Member for Shagona cease.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to go to item with respect to NESC. And I'm asking this question in the context.
Which line?
All right, let me
Which
give
line
you
item?
an line item. Line item 019, page 83. Construction of the drilling school, 145,000. Is it that that drilling school with that very minuscule amount of money is earmarked to be closed?
I will not say it is earmarked to be closed, but it's something that we are looking at very closely.
Okay, can I ask a related question with the NESC? The previous experience had been that the NESC Debe Center was closed and the students, they were sent to the Eugene St. Madeleine MIC. Is there any intention to close the Debe NESC Center?
I am not aware of any decision to close the DB Center, NESC Center.
025, Aviation Institute at UTT, Camden. Could the Honorable Minister indicate whether that facility is being used, and if so, for what?
The facility is not being used at the moment. That facility has to be the subject of discussions on how we are moving forward. We have been having discussions with the chairman of UTT, because this falls under UTT. And we are looking at all different permutations. We know that, for example, a 747 plane was purchased.
No, a 727, Boeing 727-300,
Okay,
and it was
all right.
not purchased.
It was
donated.
Okay, right. We understand that there's a helicopter, there are flight simulators, all of those things there, and we're not sure
You have a Cessna as well?
how, yeah, Cessna, right. So we're not sure how we're going to proceed where that is concerned. That is subject to intense discussions.
Okay. Are there plans to use it?
Of course, if we have that equipment, we won't let it go to waste. And in fact, I can tell you, perhaps the Minister of Sport might be too aware, but we will be engaging the Minister of Sport in discussions on this very topic.
Okay. Yeah, Madam Chair, I just wanted to go to line item 030. Could you, Minister, indicate to us what this project or program is about? Teach me, and who delivers this program and to where?
The Teach Me program really is a program to facilitate the STEM camps and the STEM documents. The funds that have been allocated here is really to facilitate the utilization of the STEM camps and the STEM documents.
Member for Shigona Seas.
Okay, just going to item 33. Acquisition of capital equipment for MIC, legacy project, and it is earmarked, it is highlighted here as reactivated. Could you indicate to us what was this project that is now being reactivated?
Well, what is happening is that we are looking at the specifications of the equipment. And before we procure that equipment, we have to be sure of the specifications and make sure that that equipment will be able to serve its purposes.
Madam Chair, 027, the establishment of this National Science Center. Am I to understand, or can I ask whether this involves the construction of the National Science Center? I'm on page 83. That on lands that were allocated in use, 27 acres of land?
Yeah.
Is this it?
Yes.
Will construction start in this fiscal year?
Well, the project is ongoing. It is 39% complete. The project was deferred in fiscal 2016 due to not having board approval. Funds are expected to be utilized to commence construction, and a cabinet note is to be drafted regarding the revised scope and cost.
Member for Oropuch East.
Madam Chair. To the Honorable Minister, at 017, you have here the establishment of a Skills and Technology Center in Deve Penal, an estimate of 500,000. I just wanted to ask, what would that money be used for? The center, to my knowledge, had been established before. So what exactly is the $500,000 for? And secondly, item 025, Aviation Institute. You had an estimate for 2016 of 25 million, revised estimate at 25 million. I'm asking how much money was spent on the establishment of the Aviation Institute, and what exactly was done if money was spent?
I am not sure of the quantum with respect to the Aviation Institute, but I was at pains to explain just now how we plan to go forward where this Aviation Institute is concerned.
So no money was spent to your knowledge?
I won't say no. I don't have that information.
Okay, sure. Sure. I had asked a question before on the DB, the 500,000 for the establishment of the DB technology. That was established under the partnership administration, so.
Okay, the funds here are to be utilized for outfitting the center. And I just spoke about specification of equipment. All right.
So you know something, man.
Mr.
008
on page 82. You have establishment of UTT, but that's just, what is this 17 million for? And what do you mean by establishment of UTT? So we dealt with that in another.
This is really for the funding for upgrade works. It has not yet been established.
It's not established.
It's established.
It's upgraded.
Yes, this is upgraded.
Yes, yes, no, it's 08.
UTT?
Yes, yes.
The establishment is misleading. It is really for upgrades work to the...
Okay, I told that the heading there is a bit misleading. It is really for the upgrading of the work that is supposed to be done.
For UTT?
Yes, for UTT.
On the main campus? Or across different
No, in
campuses?
Tobago. This is not Tobago?
Tobago. Upgrading of UTT in Tobago?
No, the main campus.
Main campus. All right. Okay.
Member for Point Appeal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To the Honourable Minister, line item 032 on page 83, establishment of a training facility in Chaguanas. Could you identify what is the location in Chaguanas?
What is the
location?
I am not sure of the location, but I thought you were about to tell me. Oh, I've been told it's in Woodford Lodge. It's in Woodford Lodge.
Well,
but I was anticipating a question about what is to be done there. But
no, I first had to find out where the location is.
Yeah, it's in Woodford Lodge.
Okay. And under what training provider that facility would lie under? Responsible?
It's YTEP.
YTEP.
It's a YTEP training facility.
Member for Chaguanas West.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. It's similarly under item 32. Is this the existing facilities or is this a new training facility that will be established? Because I see there is no allocation 2015, 2016, but there's a 10 million allocation in 2017. So I really would like an explanation because I'm quite familiar with the area, Woodford Lodge. But there are existing facilities of NESC there.
This facility is being supported by YTEP, by NESC, and very shortly MIC will play a part.
Okay. So it is really the existing facility?
Yes.
Member for Miaro.
Madam Chairman, Minister, with regards to item number 021, the Miaro Skills and Technology Center, I noticed there is no allocation for 2017. What will be the status of that facility? Is it going to be decommissioned?
We got no funding, and I'm sure the Minister of Finance will want to assist me where this is concerned, where this question is concerned. Miaro.
Are you assisting with the answer?
Yes.
I only recognize the member of Miaro. Minister of Finance, are you assisting with the answer? Thank you very much.
Could you repeat the question?
Yes, Minister. In lieu of the no allocations for 2017 for the Miaro Skills and Technology Center, I was wondering as to what will be the status of that facility, whether it's going to be decommissioned.
Why should it be decommissioned? We're dealing with development program here. This is not recurrent. So I think you're operating on a false premise. This is for capital works. It's already there, right? It's not like the fire station.
Item 005, multi-sectoral and other services, pages 84 and 85. Member for Shogunas, please.
Madam Chair, I noticed that we have on item 037, the school improvement project for Laventille to the tune of $31 million. But in addition, we have line item 039, establishment of a knowledge center in Laventille for $8 million. Can you tell us what this knowledge center is all about? What is it and where is it going to be located? What will it do? And that, of course, in addition to the Laventille Continuing Education and Technology Center, which is there.
39. Knowledge center.
No, I think I'm saying that I'm sure this is going to happen. I was advised it is going to happen in enterprise as well. The enterprise improvement project is going to come soon. So I just want to get an idea of what I will be getting for the constituents of Shogunas East. I know, I was just saying, so I wanted to know. Yeah, I want to say on 39, if you could tell me, what is it about?
We'll provide you with that answer shortly.
So you mean the Minister of Finance is here? He couldn't tell us? Okay, can I go on, Madam Chair? I would like to go to page 85, if I'm so permitted. Oh, sorry.
We'll come back to you because we're still in item 005.
Okay, well.
All right, so
I'm okay.
Shogunas East.
I'm okay with 00.
All right, member for Caroni East.
Item 031, the SEM program, a seamless education project. 90 million was estimated in 2016, and 16.5 million was spent, and now the estimate is reduced to 5.5 million. Could the Honourable Minister indicate to us what programs have been removed from the SEMP, or if programs were there and have not been paid, so that 95 million was supposed to be under, or 90 million in 2016, and only 16 million was utilized. That's page 84, Minister, line item 031. The Seamless Education Program. I'll send some medicine, you know. Yeah. Tablet just.
Permission?
Sure. My brother.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, answer. Sorry, Minister, you want me to repeat?
No, but the minister said you'd be provided with that information.
Oh, so you
Member
don't-
for Oropuch
you
East.
don't have-
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Just two quick questions. On page 84 at the bottom, 017, although this project was transferred to planning, is it a construction of Institute of Marine Affairs or construction of a building for the Institute of Marine Affairs?
I
And
think we haven't had Ministry of...
no, I just wanted to be clear on the heading, whether the heading is correct, that title. And secondly, on page 85, 021, establishment of a South Campus UE, we note, Minister, that $43 million had been estimated, revised downward to 9.6 million, and there's no estimate for 2017. I'm just asking, out of the 43 million estimated, how much exactly was spent, if any at all, and what was it spent for?
With this morning. Here.
We're dealing with the document before us now.
Yes, but I'm telling you, for your information, it was dealt with already this morning, and the position is that South Pinal DB campus is totally within the remit of the University of the West Indies.
Question with great respect. You had budgeted 43 million. Did you spend any, and if so, on what?
That is an issue that the government of Trinidad and Tobago will not get involved in. It is totally in the hands of the University of West Indies.
So you
that
did, so, okay, so
information-
no monies were spent. I'm concerned with the expenditure of the capital here stated. I'm not concerned with the politics of it. I'm concerned with whether the $43 million or any part was spent.
All I'm saying is you can ask the University of the West Indies those questions. We are not getting into that.
Ask them if a vote from your ministry was spent. I can do that. No, I'll ask the ministry if education spend money. I don't know if you all understand how foolish that is sounding.
Madam Chairman, let me come in
Member-
here.
Minister of
Let
Finance.
me deal with this because I
Are you
heard...
going to answer the question?
Yes, I heard sotto voce down there.
No, I'm talking about the question.
Yes, I am.
Thank you very
With
much.
respect to this question, the estimates clearly indicate that $9,610,000 was spent. It's there in black and white.
That is a revised estimate. Is that an actual expenditure?
That's the information at this time. It's
But
right there in front of you.
You see, even with the answer, Madam Speaker, all I'm asking is how much was spent. The Minister of Finance read what is in the book as a revised estimate. I am satisfied with the Minister of Education response. I did not need any more clarification from the Minister of
Before we can
Finance.
go on. Member for Shogunas West.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 09F009, establishment of a Center for Geography, Environment, and Natural Resource Management. An allocation of 1 million, a reactivated project. Could the Minister lend some light on this matter?
That allocation is for the purchase of land. That purchase was completed, and the funds are to be utilized to pay commitments for the purchase of the property. So in other
Where
words,
is this
it's a project that is to be
where is this project going to
reactivated.
be located, Honourable Minister?
Pardon?
Location of this land.
It is a UWI project in St. Augustine.
Okay. The follow-up question. Item 022 on page 85. Construction of an open campus facility in Chaguanas. Is this the Costard facility?
No, that's different. And because of budgetary constraints, because of the downturn in our economy, we cannot fund this project at this time.
No, but there is an allocation
Yes, I know that.
of 20 million.
We will not be spending that amount.
Member for Naparima.
Exhaust already.
Member for Chaguanas East.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can I return to 021, establishment of the South Campus UWI? Honourable Minister, from the calculations here, $34 million were not spent in the last fiscal year, even though there was an allocation of $43 million. Since coming into office, the question is, have you met with the incoming principal of the St. Augustine campus? And the questions, that's question number one. Secondly, what did he indicate to you in terms of the continuity of this project, and when will the campus be available to receive students?
We met with both the Chancellor, the Vice Chancellor, and the Principal, both past and present, and we are all agreed that that is a project to be undertaken by the University of West Indies without any interference by the government of Trinidad and Tobago.
Madam Chair, from my experience as the former minister responsible, the minister, I'm sure, will agree that he attends FNGPC meetings as well as University Council. So you represent the government of Trinidad and Tobago. As the line minister responsible for UWI, can you tell us whether the agreement is that this facility will continue to be constructed, and when will it become operational?
I'm not in a position to say that. I've been saying this over and over. I've been trying to explain that. The government of Trinidad and Tobago will take no part where that is concerned. We have left that in the hands of the University of the West Indies.
Can I ask a follow-up? Did the principal of the St. Augustine campus indicate to you that commencing the calendar year 2018 that the campus may become operational to receive students? Has he indicated that?
No, the last time we met, he didn't indicate that.
Did he indicate that there was a view now to convert it or to use a part of it in addition to law for science and technology?
No, he did not indicate that to me.
Central.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A couple of questions. In 032, support the enhancement of the education strategy. I'm just inquiring, is that a program to better integrate and harmonize the seamless strategy? I'm just inquiring.
I did not get your last few words.
032.
Yes, I know that. Mm-hmm.
Support the enhancement of the education strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something aligned to the seamless education project?
No, that is a grant that the government has given by the IDB to facilitate programs that deal with research. Okay, so it's really a research grant.
Okay. Related to tertiary education? Is that
yes.
Yeah. Two more questions. I know that the minister, the member for Shagwanas, he's asked this question, but I'm really interested in it. I don't think he got an adequate reply. If you can give me one, I'd be grateful. 039, the establishment of a knowledge center in Laventille. I just want to know what is conceived. All right, sure.
Yes, I have.
I said that I'm going to provide that information in writing.
I can provide it.
Okay, Minister of Finance will
We
provide
have
it.
a general Laventille initiative.
Right, I know
it's
that.
It's comprised of two components which are
I saw the
identified
side.
separately.
Yes.
So you have general enhancement of a number of schools
Right.
in Laventille,
Right.
which is the 31 million. And then the 8 million is for the establishment of a center that will provide services such as ICT and other learning, technology-based learning software and services to people
Is it
in
for
Laventille.
teacher support rather than student support?
It will be both.
Right, okay.
It's both. Okay?
Okay.
Right.
And then the final question I had.
The clarification.
You want to? Yeah.
If I may, Madam Chairman, thank you very much. I heard one of my colleagues opposite saying, isn't there a technology center in Laventille? There is, but this is slightly different because the technology center deals with adults, right, whereas this will be dealing with the primary and secondary school students, rather than adults who have already left school.
Okay, so it's not envisaged to support the teachers as
Yes,
part of
as-
the...
as the
All right,
Minister
so
of
it's
Finance
both,
says, it's
right?
both.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
And, well, the final question I had was the building 027, the building of the International Fine Cocoa Innovation Center. Can you just explain to me what that is? I know we have a major initiative in cocoa.
It is,
I just
it
want
is,
to
it
understand.
is a new project,
Yes.
as you would see there. And a draft cabinet note will be presented soon. A draft note to cabinet will be presented soon to outline this entire project. It is part of research into cocoa, and we know the University of the West Indies wants to develop the chocolate industry, and that is part of the research, the ongoing research.
Okay, so it will be linked to the research center there?
Yes.
Okay.
Member for Oroput East?
Yeah, it has fun.
Thank you. Minister of Education, I just wanted to be very clear, Minister. Is it the government policy that having donated the land for the South Campus, that the South Campus will be left entirely to the University of the West Indies and the government will have no further financial input into the campus?
Yes.
Thank you.
Member for Shogunas East?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Item 019, and I want to make it very clear through you, Madam Chair. All my questions are being directed to ensure that there's transparency and accountability of the taxpayers' money. Yeah? That's my basic premise. The development works at the University of the West Indies for $17 million. Could you indicate what that is, and is that part of that money going to be allocated to the 100-acre parcel of land that is in the custody of the University of the West Indies at Orange Grove?
No, that is for the further development of the Canada Hall at the University of the West Indies.
Okay.
Member for Naparima?
To the Honorable Minister, on item 037, that is again the School Improvement Project Laventille, and 039, establishment of the Knowledge Center in Laventille. While commendable, are there measurable improvement targets so that it would not be a case of just throwing money and at the end of the day we still have a problem? Would the school improvement project be tied to measurable indices that we could see that there's value for money?
That is correct, yes. And I can also refer you to the Minister of Finance's budget speech presentation where he elaborated to some extent on the Laventille project.
Well, could you indicate indicate to us what are some of these measurable measures that would be used? We don't want a situation like national security. We keep pouring money and we can't see the results.
To improve literacy, numeracy. It is to encourage students to attend schools because, you know, in that Laventille area we have a very high dropout rate. It is designed to encourage stakeholder involvement, particularly parents. It is designed to upgrade the performance of the students. It is designed to enhance the physical aspects of the school. It is designed to provide leadership to principals and all those persons who are involved in the schools in the area. It is intended to decrease the incidence of violence and indiscipline in our schools.
All right. Is there some baseline, a bit of information to say attendance today is 60%, and at the end of this injection of money, we intend to move it from 60% to 80%. You talked about, there's talk about academic performance. There's standardized tests. The average in Laventille is X, and at the end of this program, we intend to get it to Y. In that case, all of us have a stake in Laventille's improvement, and I think that we need to see at the end of the day a measurable improvement in performance.
I can share with you, at present, we are preparing a note to Cabinet which would outline the structure of the project, the desired outcomes, the timelines, exactly what you're talking about. All those things will be outlined in a note to cabinet, and then when that note, if it is accepted by cabinet, then we're going to release it to the public.
Thank you.
Member for Caroni East.
Line item number 23023, the expansion of the School of Dentistry at the EWMSC. Is that project complete, or where are we in terms of the expansion? Or is that being left to the University of the West Indies as another area?
That project is 42% complete, and the funds that have been identified will be utilized during financial year 2017 to complete the project.
So the estimated completion time is in 2017?
Hopefully, we will be able to complete the project in 2017, yes.
All right, and what's the total cost of the project? $15 million was paid already, according to the book.
A contract has been awarded, and the contractor will be tasked with the responsibility of producing that facility at a cost of $29.174 million.
Thank you, Minister.
Member for Shigona East.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable Minister, for all the reasons and good reasons that you give for the SIP in Laventille community, would you be kind enough to consider including in the cabinet note the school improvement project for the enterprise community, which have similar criteria?
You know, we have been saying all along that project will be used as a template for other areas. And I think I gave you that assurance too, you know.
When might it start in this fiscal year?
We don't envisage that will start in this fiscal year, simply because we want to have a proper assessment of the program.
Okay. Well, you could undertake the assessment in this fiscal year.
Madam Mayor,
Minister of Planning and Development.
Thank you very much. Member, as the minister responsible for planning and development, you would understand that there must be, first of all, a template. This is a new initiative of this government. Laventille is being used as a template, and once we see that the kind of progress that we are anticipating is made, it will be done in other communities. But Laventille is being used as a template. We have started certain things. We are doing it very quietly for now. And once there is success, you can be assured that it will be used in other communities that may have similar problems.
Member for Caroni Central.
I just want to get some clarification here, okay? And it has to do with 019, Development Works at the University of the West Indies. It allocates here $17 million for development works. And am I to understand, Minister, that this is for general development in the University of the West Indies?
The minister said this is for further development of Canada Hall. Member, could you, Minister of Finance, please. We'll be here until we finish 8 heads. That was our agreement. Remember, I believe that was said it was for further development of Canada Hall.
No, the reason I was asking is that I wanted to follow on the response to 021, where the minister said that will be left to the University of the West Indies.
Yes.
And I wanted to ask him if there was any development funds provided to the University of the West Indies aligned to the South Campus. That is what I wanted to ask.
All right, okay, fine. Okay. We now got the question. Minister of Finance, please. Minister of Education, please.
Over and over, no. We will not be pumping any more money into the penal DB. That is, we're leaving that to the discretion of the University of the West Indies.
Okay. Yeah, 1 minute, please. Do you want to assist Minister of Planning and Development? Yes, please.
Thank you very much. Madam Chairman, I would like to point specifically to item 019. I am sure the member for Caroni Central will recall that with regard to the development of Canada Hall, there was an agreement between the university, the government, and the private sector to complete these works. And that is why, as compared to what we are saying about the South Campus, we continue to give the funding for the development of Canada Hall. And that was an agreement that was made even before we came into office. It is an agreement which we are continuing because it is important to make sure that the halls of residence are developed. However, as the minister keeps saying with regard to the construction of the South Campus, the University of the West Indies has taken this over on its own and they will be proceeding with it. But with regard to Canada Hall, that agreement had been made during your time, and I'm sure you remember that, and that is why it continues to be funded.
Madam Chair, I'd just like to say I'm not contesting any of these issues.
No, but I'm just clarifying Just wait, please, members. Okay? We have several hours left, so let's just be tolerant. We understand? I think you got your answer.
Reason I asked the question, and the Minister of Education answered in a way that was, aggressive. Right, no, we're not.
Oh, but
so
did
and so.
You get your answer?
But that was not the issue. The issue the Minister of Planning said the university is going to take responsibility for the development of the campus. But whatever development takes place, as I understand the South Campus to be requiring more development funds and effort, the money has to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
So I was simply trying to align that to the notion that the South Campus, there has been a commitment that it will be open, that it cannot be open this year, or whatever it is. I want to know what is going to happen.
Yeah, but I think the Minister of Planning and Development indicated that the university
provide its own funds out of its development.
They have the money to do it.
Okay.
All right, please.
Members, Minister of Finance,
please.
we're getting mad.
Yeah, maybe we want a little recess again. Member for Oropuch East.
No, ma'am, it's okay.
Okay, Infrastructure Development Fund, page 287, item 004, Social Infrastructure, page 287 to 290. Member for Tabakit.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Item number 424, construction of Flanagan Town RC School. I noticed that no money has been allocated for 2017. This is a school that has been housed in a church for 60 years. Can the minister tell me? Yeah, 60 years. 60. Can the minister tell me whether this school is going to be continued? Because the school has already started and I believe the foundation
Page 289. Page 289, item 424.
There are a number of our schools, particularly schools in the primary sector, that are in need of refurbishing. However, because of our tight economic situation, we had to prioritize for fiscal 2017. Unfortunately, in our prioritizing, Flanagan Town RC was not among those that we had given top priority.
Is the minister aware that that school was started, the foundation has been done, and are you not going to complete the school, minister? The children do not have a school in that area.
Is the minister aware that the foundation has been started, minister?
No, I'm not aware the foundation has been started.
So is the minister prepared to pay a visit?
Of course I'll pay a
to
visit.
see where the children are in the church for 60 years?
I give you the assurance that both
Children
ministers...
in the church for 60 years?
Yes, ma'am.
So there's no school?
No.
Okay.
Well, I wouldn't say that. And Talakit, I will not say there's no school. A school isn't only a building.
Right.
Okay?
And, okay, so the question was, is the minister prepared to visit? The minister said yes.
Yes, both ministers will visit.
Okay, member for Caroni East.
Under pre-primary 001, 40 million was put on the estimate for the
Page 287.
page 287 for 216. And despite 35 ECC centers under construction and contractors being owed millions of dollars, only 3 million has been expended from the 40 million. Could the Honorable Minister indicate why this happened when there are a number of schools, even under the IADB as well, have been under construction? And so 35 schools, ECC centers were under construction. Contractors owed millions of dollars. 40 million allocated for 2016 and only $3 million spent.
Minister of Finance, you want to answer that question?
$40 million has been allocated.
Sure.
What you're saying?
No, for 2017, Minister, I see that. But for 2016, you had an estimate allocation of 40 million, and only from the revised estimate, only 3 million was spent.
We're going to make up the shortfall in 2017.
You're going to have to pay for some of the work that was done prior to 2015?
We're going to make up the shortfall in 2017 as far as possible.
For what you did not pay.
But that, the 40 million you have allocated there will not be able to complete the payment for the 35 ECC centers that are under construction.
But again, we'll prioritize. I've been saying that over and over. The pie has shrunk, and as a result, not everybody can get everything that they want. We have to think in terms of prioritizing what you're going to do so that we can get the best fit.
Yeah, so Minister, I'm not...
Question, member.
Yeah,
question.
the question is, there would therefore be some ECC centers that are under construction at the moment that would be left at that level and then taken over subsequently in 2018 or something?
I am not prepared to say that. All I'm saying is that we'll draw up a priority list and we'll proceed on the basis of the funds that are available.
Member for Oropuch East.
Thank you very much, Madam, to the Minister of Education. I'm at 434, page 289. Is the Minister aware that the Ramai Trace Hindu School is 80% complete and there's no provision in 2017 to complete this school? Is the Minister further aware that those students from that area travel 20 miles away to Penal Rock Road to undertake their schooling in a temple? And is the Minister aware that you have budgeted $2 million for the Cypress Gardens Government Primary School, when I believe that school has not even started yet?
Minister Francis will respond to you. Dr. Francis.
I visited both the Ramai Trace School under construction and the temple where they are housed. So I am very familiar with the situation of the students. And we do plan to have discussions with the Minister of Planning and the Minister of Finance to see what can be done to rectify the situation.
Thank you.
Member for Point-a-Pear.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To the Honourable Minister, page 289, line item 437, construction of Macaulay Government Primary School. 2015, the construction had started, 8.4 million was spent. 2016, nothing happened, and in 2017, no allocation has been made.
The answer to that is the same answer that have been given, that I have been given. We are going to prioritize. We're going to visit the schools. We're going to visit the sites, and on the basis of that, with our technical staff, we will decide how we move forward.
Member for Miari.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Minister, I'm thankful for the allocation for the Mafikin Government School, which is really in dire need of reconstruction or refurbishment. This is item 420, Mafikin Government Primary School. Now, in lieu of the start of that project, there has been a series of protests by the parents for the last couple of days, dealing with a couple main issues in the school. Now, I've been in contact with EFCL as early as this morning. And what they are saying is that there is proposals in the ministry right now to deal with those issues, but they're just waiting for some direction from the ministry. Can you give the parents some assurance that you all can take a look at this and have it expedited? Because the electrical issue is what's hampering the school at the moment. But, I don't want, that the fact that, there is an allocation for the school to do the reconstruction or the rebuild, that, we could wait, because this particular issue is shutting down some of the operations of the school at the moment.
I can give the assurance to you, members of parliament, the national community, and the parents, that we're going to look at it. We have been discussing, when I said we, at the Ministry of Education, Dr. Francis and myself and other officers, how best we can meet the needs of the schools, particularly the schools that are in an advanced state of disrepair and schools in the rural areas. As you know, we have been able to achieve tremendous success with respect to the New Grant Anglican School. And it's a new school that has been rebuilt at a relatively low cost. And we are just giving, I want to choose my words carefully, we are given consideration to adopt that as a model for a number of small primary schools in the rural areas, because even the Anglican board has congratulated us for presenting to them a brand new school whose facilities are first class. So instead of building a school that will cost $30 and $40 and $50 million, perhaps we can get 10, 20 schools that can be constructed in a matter of weeks or perhaps 1 or 2 months. Okay?
Member for Shogunas East.
Chair, Honorable Minister, in your reprioritization, might you consider line item 438? 4%, the foundation is already completed. I'd like to ask you to consider the Endeavour Hindu School for continued construction.
Yeah, we'll give it active consideration.
Thank you, Chair. I'm referring to item 404. And the minister would recall an undertaking he gave in this house that the Barakpo Astra School, primary school, would be built in 10 months. I see no allocation for 2016 or 2017. Would the minister care to enlighten us?
You know, I went into a very long explanation what we plan to do. Barakpo Astra is one of those schools that we are looking at.
Okay, all right. With respect, I take your word for it. At 435, the Reform Sanatan Dharma Mahasabha Primary School, my understanding is that the contractor is owed monies, and that is holding up the final handover of the school. Is the outstanding some 2 million? Would that be able to handle the outstanding amount owed to the contractor so that we could get
provisions to start paying contractor?
To answer the second part of your question first, we are working together with the Attorney General, acting now, to really decide how best we're going to make payments to the contractors. We have a sum of money, which I cannot disclose now, that we can make available. I just want to hand out to the contractors not hope, it's more than hope, the information that they will be getting paid soon, if not all that is owed, but certainly there will be part payments.
Thank you very much for the question. At the side of the Reform Primary School is the Early Childhood Center that is 100% complete. And what is happening now is that the vines and whatnot are reclaiming the school. I would just ask that you give some priority to the payments to that contractor so that the school doesn't deteriorate further. Excuse me?
Yes. Okay, good. We'll give it attention.
Member for Couva South. I'm sorry. Just 1 minute. Minister of Planning, you wanted to add something to assist the members. Yes.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Madam Chairman, may I indicate that with regard to the contractors for various schools, what we are doing is making sure that first of all, that the contracts were in fact executed, and also that there are legitimate claims that are now being made, and that may take some time, and that is why we are still in the process of determining how much is actually owed to contractors.
Member for Couva South, I do have you down, member for Karen East.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, ma'am, I wasn't quite finished.
I'm sorry.
In many instances, we have already been able to do that, and so payments will be forthcoming.
All I'm asking on behalf of my constituents, particularly those in reform, that exercise or that auditing exercise be completed expeditiously. It's been a year, so that the students can, right now the students is a top primary school in the top 10%, but they're housed in a dilapidated condition with 2 toilets for 150 students.
Member for Naparima, may I allay your fears and indicate that the process has in fact been completed, but in an effort to ensure that we did the process properly, we did take some time. The process has been completed, and now we can start making the payments.
Member for Couva South.
Madam Chair, to the Minister under, let's see where it is. With respect to Freeport, yes, 426 construction of Freeport, Sanata and Dharma Mahasabha Primary. In 2016, there was an allocation of $6 million, and the revised estimate $200,000 was spent. And I see that under the 2017 estimate, there is no allocation. Could the Minister so advise what is the status of this particular school?
The explanation give with respect to the other schools, that explanation holds for all the schools.
I just want to make a case. The school is severely overcrowded, Mr. Minister, and I would appreciate, because the catchment area that it serves is not only the constituency of Couva South, but Couva North, Caroni Central, and surrounding areas and so on. And I would really like you and your technical people to take a look at this in your prioritizing of expenditure.
Member for Caroni East.
Ministers, the 56 schools listed here under from item 276 to 438 under primary section, a significant amount of them have been completed already. And there's a certain value still attached to them for estimate in 2017. Is that the payment that is outstanding for them, and that will be paid?
Yes.
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 Yes. And the Minister of Planning did answer the question about the 700.
Ask it again, please.
Yeah.
In the interest of time, if the question was answered, let's don't repeat.
No, I just want to get an emphatic answer from the ministers, and if the Minister of Planning and the Minister of Finance will answer. There are over $700 million owed to contractors. 600 million, I understand, to contractors in the construction of these schools at various stages of completion.
Remember, I'm not going to allow that question in the interest of time. I think we've got very clear answers and explanations with respect to that. Oropuch East.
Yes, ma'am. Let me move on to another number here. I'm just focusing on 2 items, 333 and...
That's on page 289?
Yes, ma'am. 333 and item 394. Minister, between these 2 line items, there's $110 million. Could you indicate the nature of works to be done? Which blocks within secondary school will cost $20 million? And the secondary school construction infrastructure work that will take $90 million in the next fiscal, while we cannot complete the Ramai Trace, the Lakshmi Girls, the Shiva Boys, the Parvati Girls? I'm sure.
He asked.
Item 333 and item 394. If these these schools could be identified. I believe that's your question.
Yes, I was asking on 333 and 394, but the Minister of Finance is disturbing the Minister. Yes, which blocks within which school and where is the $90 million to be spent from 394?
Okay, allow me to identify some of the schools. St. Augustine Girls, and that will be the science block. Diego Martin Central Secondary, Woodbrook Secondary, Arima Central Secondary, Hillview College. You smile, huh?
You went to college?
Cuba East Secondary and Vishnu Boys.
Yeah, forget holding it.
The next set.
Okay.
Oh, just we have more schools. Sorry.
Minister, is it a long list?
No, I just have a few more.
Cooper West.
Holy Name Convent. Yes, I missed out Holy Name Convent. Yes.
Cooper West.
Cooper West, Five Rivers Secondary, Bartara North Secondary, Mount Hope Secondary, Kaipichama West Secondary, St. Joseph Secondary, St. Augustine Secondary, and Pleasantville and Princestown East Secondary.
Member, I did not recognize you, please. Member for Kumutu Mansinilla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable Ministers, page 287 and 288, but for 287, line item 121, the procurement of furniture and equipment. The Mansinilla River Primary School has been crying out for stationery, furniture for their school and some equipment. And I'm asking Mansinilla River.
What is the question?
They have been for furniture.
Statement, the question.
And I'm asking if you will consider including them when you're procuring your furniture, and so that you will consider that primary school, please.
Principals must submit the list of the requirements.
It was submitted.
We'll give them consideration based on our constraints, our financial constraints.
And on page 288, line item 373 and 405.
Just say it again.
Line item 373, that's on page 288, the construction of the Mansinilla government, and line item 405, construction of the Lower Komoto government. I see there's an allocation for both, and I'm kindly asking if there is do you have a date in mind to start the construction of both?
Mansinilla Secondary School.
No. Mansinilla River.
Secondary school.
Primary. And the first part was the primary school.
They got the furniture.
I've been told that they got the furniture.
All right, okay.
Okay. All right. The next one, the construction of the Mansinilla Government School.
Yes, and the Komoto.
What is your question about the Mansinilla Government School?
I saw that you have allocated funds for both schools, and I'm asking when are you looking at commencing construction?
Mansinilla Government School is a new school.
Well, I saw you have it here, so I don't know if you had
know your constituency?
No.
That is a brand new school situated on the Mansinilla Road. It's a new school. There are some problems, and the money that has
not the Mansinilla River, you know.
The Mansinilla Government School.
You don't know your constituency.
Mansinilla Government School is situated on the Mansinilla Road. It's a brand new school. That's right.
The Mansinilla North, school is what I'm referring to. That school I've
North
asked, yeah.
Mansinilla Government School.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
We at item
373, yeah.
That relates to Mansinilla Government School?
Yeah. Is it an error that, therefore, is it the, Honorable Minister, if you remember, we had discussions about the North Mansinilla Government School.
Remember, I am asking, are you asking 373?
I'm asking if it is in reference to that school, seeing that there's a line item here with funding for it, with an allocation.
Yes, what is your question, please?
Is it for North Mansinilla School, or in light of the fact that this school is already?
It is for Mansinilla Government Primary School.
upon us well.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Item 395, construction and refurbishment of Holy Cross College, an allocation of 10 million. When is this project scheduled to be started?
Well, the board, they have to get the necessary approvals from town and country. Now, you ask me a question and then you're talking to somebody else.
No, they...
if you're my class, I put it in detention.
My apologies. Okay, my apologies. My apologies. I was disturbed by your colleague.
That is maybe a signal for the chair.
Madam, please. I don't normally pick up for those on the other side, but on this occasion, I must say that I disturbed the chief whip, and that is why he got distracted. Imagine.
I would want to say
I don't want to be in detention.
The spirit of cooperation and respect, which, excuse me, we've now reached a new watershed. Okay? Let's continue in that vein, please. Minister of...
And I just want to indicate, there was no intention to snub you anyway, just that she takes precedent over you.
Minister of Education.
Yes, with respect to Holy Cross, you asked the question when construction will begin. The board has to apply to town and country for outline approvals. And I've been assured that once that is done, and well, a contractor has already been appointed, then we'll commence work.
Okay, and with respect to item 433, I take it this 3 million allocation is for the total, is it for the completion of Monroe Road Hindu Primary School, the Sanatan Dharma Primary School, or is it for final payment? I just want to be very clear. Final payment? Okay, I'm good.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. With respect to 394, secondary school construction and other infrastructure works. Is Cohen Hamilton Secondary School included in any developmental project for fiscal year 2017?
What's the line item? Just
the line item 394.
394?
Yes, secondary school construction and other infrastructure works. Is there anything allocated for Cohen Hamilton?
I defer to Honorable Minister. All right,
Yeah.
The situation at Cohen, I visited the school. It's in my constituency. I visited, I visit all the time, but I visited recently, and they have an issue in terms of an entire block that perhaps needs to be replaced. It was not in our initial plans, but we'll be having discussions with the Minister of Planning and Finance to see what we can do to ameliorate the situation. So I am very much aware of the situation.
Yeah, I know you're aware, but we should take comfort that something will be done. That's in fiscal year 2017. It's the only Baptist secondary school in the country. And therefore, I think, I heard all the Hillview and whatnot, but I think as a Baptist, that some kind of serious priority ought to be given to that school. I'm talking about myself. I'm a Baptist.
The hand gesture was confusing.
Yeah,
but I'll reiterate
don't be
again.
confused.
I will speak with the Minister of Planning and Minister of Finance, and we will do our best to make an ameliorative intervention.
Yeah, I just want to have an assurance that the Baptists are not seen as a vote bank. Sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Honorable Minister, with respect to line item 342 and 344, Shiva Boys and Parvati Girls, there is no provision for the continued construction of these two schools, which is far advanced. Could you indicate why would there have been no provision, seeing that the school is already so advanced in terms of its completion in the constituency of Siparia? Boys and Parvati Girls.
We are...
I hope you remember about what happens to people who disturb the proceedings. It came from the floor, it didn't come from the chair. Okay? All right, good. Thank you. Yes, Minister of Education.
We are giving priority to schools that are in urgent need of repair and refurbishing.
Member for Caroni East.
Yeah, there are about 4 other schools under the line item 394, secondary school, to be completed, and about 90 to 95% complete, namely St. Joseph, Mount Hope, and a few others. What's the Ministry of Education intention in terms of these 5 secondary schools that are about to be completed, which I'm sure you are aware of?
We just called that list.
What's your question?
What is the Ministry of Education's intention in terms of completion of approximately 5 secondary schools, which are close
all right,
to
let me help you.
about
The
100%?
intention is to complete the construction of all those schools.
All those schools. And where would the funding come from?
Yes, government.
But no, there's no line item for it here.
394.
It's 394. We just called the list.
Huh?
We just called that list.
No. Anyway.
Madam Chair, through you to the Honourable Minister. Minister, I just wanted to get some clarity on your response to my question. With respect to line item 342 and 344, is it that you are saying that your government does not place any priority with respect to Parvati Girls and Shiva Boys College?
Said that? I never said that.
Shiva Boys is in a school.
Mr. Minister, then could we get a definitive answer with respect to why has there been no allocation for Shiva Boys and Parvati Girls, seeing that the school is such an advanced stage of construction?
Will respond to you.
In school.
Madam Chairman, with regard to both Shiva Boys and Parvati Girls, there is an issue that I'm sure those on the other side recognize already. There's an issue with the title to the land upon which those 2 schools were built. And Madam Chairman, those schools are in an advanced stage of construction, but once the land title has not been sorted out, we will not be able to hand over those schools for them to be opened. There's an issue that subsisted from the time those schools were built that was not sorted out by the last administration, and we are now faced with the problem or the challenge of having to sort out those issues. Because if those schools are built on land to which they were not entitled, then we have a serious problem that we have to deal with.
Madam Minister, thank you for your intervention. Could you indicate to us at this time what stage is your ministry at in terms of having this matter sorted?
This is the matter of the title?
Yes.
The Ministry of Planning and Development could...
What progress have you made in this area?
That is not for the Ministry of Planning and Development to deal with. Remember, when any construction takes place, the Ministry of Planning and Development has to give the final approvals. And once there's an issue with the land, we cannot give final approval for these buildings to be occupied. But in terms of sorting that out, I'll pass
Minister of
it back to the
Education, would you be in a position to shed some light in terms
Legal
of what...
department is looking into this issue. Okay?
Okay, but you cannot give us any indication of what progress or any lack thereof has been made at this stage?
The legal department within the Ministry of Education is looking into it.
But Honourable Minister, you would acknowledge it's been over a year now, and are you saying that there has been no progress from the legal department regards to this particular matter?
Princess Tongi, that was never said. It was never said that there was no progress.
Ma'am, I'm not making a comment. I'm asking a question of whether or not there has been any progress. I'm not accusing the minister.
Maybe it's the way it was framed. Minister.
There has been progress in terms of the legal officers at the Ministry of Education. They are studying the issue.
Okay.
So you can't say there's no progress.
Okay, member for Caroni Central.
Minister, through the chair, I want to thank you for the allocation here to pre-sale government, and I just want to ask one simple question, which is that, is the allocation enough to complete the school?
Well, if it is enough, at least it will give you a start. And in fiscal 18, if we have not been able to complete it, then either during the midterm or in fiscal 18.
Okay, and I want to thank you for the work that you did on the old school to make it at least livable for the kids.
Well appreciated.
Thank you.
So item 005, multi-sectoral and other services, page 291. Item 005, multi-sectoral and other services, page 291. If there are no questions there are just 3 items that can be clarified from this morning, and I'm allowing the minister a short intervention to deal with these 3 items. These 3 items only, so that we can move on. In terms of the number of scholarships, number of persons with scholarships studying abroad, I believe a question was asked about that, and the information was supposed to be supplied.
Yes, there are 542 Trinidad and Tobago citizens who are studying abroad in receipt of government scholarships.
Okay? As far, and I believe this was also a question coming from Carney East. And this is page 187 of the recurrent expenditure.
Yes, Madam.
Personnel 01001, general administration 01, salaries and cost of living.
Yes, Madam Chairman.
Yes.
This was apparently the first question. I heard it on the radio coming down. As to the reason for the $50 million difference between the allocation for salaries and wages in this year as opposed to last year, or the disbursement of $50 million less than the original allocation. The reason was that it was assumed that the Teaching Service Commission would promote a number of teachers to higher positions such as principal, vice principal, and so on, and deans. And there would also be other promotions within the wider civil service. These promotions did not take place, but a provision was made in anticipation that the various service commissions would promote the people to the higher paying positions. And since this did not occur, there was a savings of $50 million.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted clarification on the 541 number.
542.
542. Is this a compilation of the advanced level scholarships together with the other scholarships that government provides for other areas of development, or is it a combination of both?
Just now, this will be paid, right? Total. It's a total number of Trinidad and Tobago citizens in receipt of scholarships from the government who are studying abroad.
Okay.
It's a large number, as you'll admit. It's not a handful.
Honorable members, the question is that the sum of $5 billion.
Madam Chairman, the third item.
I think that was the 3rd item.
No.
The 3rd item?
It's very important.
This is which item?
This applies to all items in this.
The difference between the revised
and
expenditure and the actual?
Yeah. It's just for clarity, Madam Chairman. I'd just like to advise members that at this point in the life of a fiscal year, you only have revised estimates. The actual expenditure is calculated in January, 4 months after the end of the financial year. So it's impossible at this time, unless there's some very good accounting, to have actual figures. So we go with the revised figures in the estimates. I just want to make that point, okay? Because I heard members asking about the actual expenditure. It's not possible at this time to give actual expenditure. We can only give revised.
Honorable members, the question is that the sum of $5,327,738,200 for head 26, Ministry of Education, stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The sum of $5,327,738,200 for head 26, Ministry of Education, now stands part of the schedule. I now invite the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs, and just to give members a sort of time check of where we are, we have now finished the first item, the first head for the day. Head 68, Ministry of Sport, $325,366,379. Where's the minister? Minister of Education, Minister of Sports and Youth Affairs. Thank you. I am just on behalf of all of us here, would like to thank the peers from the Ministry of Education, the Ministers of Education and all their technocrats for their resilience and assistance. Thank you. I now invite the Minister of Sport and Youth Affairs to make a brief opening statement for not exceeding 5 minutes. Minister.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I thank you for the opportunity for having the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs present here today to answer questions pertaining to the Ministry's fiscal 2007 budgetary allocation. In assessing the fiscal 2017 budget allocation, it must be noted that when compared to fiscal allocations of previous years, the 2017 fiscal allocation is notably less, as most or a few of the ministries. Before any premature judgment can be made on the fiscal 2017 budget allocation to the ministry, I would like to place into context some key pertinent facts which would have impacted on our budget allocation. A few years ago, this ministry was in the international spotlight for notorious wastage, mismanagement of state funds, as we know with live sport, and $400 million to date that we are still trying to finalize to find. Since then, corrective measures to tighten up on operations and our demands for greater accountability have led to greater scrutiny of requests for funding and payment for goods and services provided. Overall, many questionable applications for funding and business transactions which would have been entered and entertained in the past are no longer appearing as requests for funding. The development projects which are currently being undertaken are now required to have proper planning and prudent monitoring and evaluation. For mitigating cost overrun factors such as ad hoc variations in project scope and quality control issues. We are making a concerted effort to ensure the citizens derive value for their money. In April 2016, the ministry would have made its final payment for 4 of its football stadia, which is no longer reflected in the 2017 fiscal budget. We are working closely with sport and youth stakeholders to encourage and promote entrepreneurship and stimulate economic activity, which make them less dependent on the state treasury. We are actively reviewing business plans and exploring business opportunities to ensure that the assets under our remit are capable of generating income and revenue, thus reducing the burden on taxpayers. Before handing over, I would like to highlight and reiterate to members of the Standing Finance Committee that the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs is not only about administrating funding provided in the 2017 fiscal budget allocation, but we are also playing a critical role in controlling the levels of fiscal hemorrhaging the state experienced by mitigating the amount of fiscal resources spent. The medical sector by promoting a healthier society through engagement of a society in sporting activity. The security sector to tackle crime issues by encouraging young people to adopt sport as a medium to build camaraderie among themselves for promoting a peaceful society. As I mentioned in my budget debate, I just want to reiterate on a few points, so when we go into discussion with the line items, that the members on the other side will keep this in mind for the sake of time. The four main issues that we dealt with as a ministry was the cleaning up of the systems of the ministry, the maintenance of the facilities that we have, focus mainly on our athletes and our youths, and of course a database system which will help us with decision making. Right? We want to reiterate to them that it's a marathon and not a sprint. We are here for 5 years. We have done 1 year. And we have 4 more years to go. I want to reiterate that the Minister of Finance would have told the public that is $18 billion in revenue that was earned previously, and now we are down to $1.7 billion in the last year. We want that to be remembered by the members on the other side. We all had to do a 7% cut in our budget, which represented $33 million for the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs. Previously, under the last PP government, of the 12 ministers that were there, there were 9 ministers, as I said in my debate, with regards to 3 in the Ministry of Sport, 3 in Youth, and 3 ministers in the Ministry in Youth. So there were 9 total. That goes down from this chair, Madam Speaker, chair, to down to Diego Martin Central in ministers in the Ministry of Sport. It's only me here alone. And just to reiterate to them that there are 9 ministers on that side previously in other governments. Right? I now hand over to you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honorable members, the question is that the sum of $325,366,379 for head 68, the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs, stand part of the schedule. Honorable members, the sum of $325,366,379 for head 68, the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs, is comprised of monies proposed for expenditure under the following subheads and items to be found in the draft estimates of recurrent expenditure and the draft estimates of development program. We now proceed to consider the draft estimates of recurrent expenditure. We are at page 449. Subhead 01, Personnel Expenditure. Item 001, General Administration, page 449. Member for Princes Town.
Madam Chair, thank you. Honorable Minister, with respect to General Administration line item 01, Salaries and Cost of Living, there has been an increase by 200,000. Could you give us an idea, an indication of what would have accounted for this increase? And at this time, what is the number of employees at the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs?
We have right now 424 staff members at the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs. And in terms of the increase of 200,000 in salaries and costs, we'll have to, that would have come from. That would have come from us reshuffling and looking at moving of staff with regards to youth and sport and the sport company over the next year.
Thank you, Minister. Line item 08, vacant posts. Honorable Minister, if you can indicate how many posts are currently vacant, if you can list the vacant positions, and how many are expected to be filled within the next financial year, please.
We are working with the Service Commission with that, Madam Chair. With regards to that, there are 208 vacancies right now. And within the next year, we are working with our HR departments of all 3 departments, including the Sport Company and the Service Commission, to have a few of those filled to assist us moving forward. Move along, Chairman.
Item 002, Physical Education and Sport Division, pages 449 and 450. Member for Princestown.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable Minister, can you give us a little bit of background in terms of what this division is particularly responsible for? How does it operate, and how many persons do you have employed in this division? And whether or not these are public service positions, or is it that these are contracted positions, or a mixture of both?
There's 97 employees in that department. It's a mixture of contract and public servants. And this department is to ensure that the physical education is, we work closely with the schools and the communities to ensure that we have activities going on in these communities with leagues and programs and so on in these communities.
Item 005, Youth Affairs at page 450. Item 006, National Youth Development and Apprenticeship Centers, pages 450 and 451. Subhead, Member for Princestown.
Madam Chair. Line item 08 under Goods and Services General Administration, page 451. The issue.
No, I thought we haven't reached this yet.
Okay,
So,
sorry.
Subhead 02, Goods and Services, page 451. Item 001, General Administration, pages 451 and 452. Member for Princestown.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable Minister, with respect to line item 08, rent, lease, office accommodation and storage, there has been a drastic cut in this area, over 24.5 million. Can you give us an idea in terms of why such a cut was made, whether or not ministry is using other facilities that is state-owned? Just an indication of why such a drastic cut that would account for this.
Thank you, Chairman. Through you, I would have mentioned in the beginning of my our discussion here that the people of Trinidad and Tobago, we have paid off for the 4 stages that were built for the Youth World Cup: Dwight York, Atto Bolan, Larry Gomes, Manny Ramjohn. They have been paid off. That money that you see that would have been paid off over the years, it's finally been paid off and is now finalizing the paperwork to be the property of the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
I am on line at item 08, rent, lease, office accommodation and storage.
24 million?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the explanation
yes,
for
that's
that?
the 4th stadium.
Honorable Minister, if you would turn to the issue of line item 16, contract employment, again a decrease by 1.7 million. Could you give us an indication of what positions in the ministry would have been discontinued or expired, positions that would have become redundant, and what positions are you proposing for the ministry in the area of contract employment for the forthcoming financial year?
Yeah, again, this is something, as I would have mentioned before, with the changes in revenue. We had to make some adjustments. The SDOs and the YDOs, we would have to make some changes with regards to reducing those amount of employment there.
Honorable Minister, how do you envisage this will affect the operations and functions of the ministry in these cuts with respect to contract employment?
Yeah, well, we'll ensure that the staff, and we work with the staff, and if again in the midterm review, we'll come back and make some adjustments to suit.
Okay, so you have had a consideration with respect to Minister of Finance, and there may be the possibility of coming back for Ministry of Sport under the mid-year review.
Once we see some improvement in revenue, yes, we could look at it.
And if there is no improvement,
right,
and the ministry continues to be under-resourced, then what happens in that scenario?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Member for Princestown, and that's why this ministry, along with the other ministries, have been consulting with a number of NGBs and governing bodies out there. So we working with the sporting organizations in the communities to make up for that shortfall, and we also be working with the youth organizations to make up for that shortfall in the communities.
Madam, through you to the Honourable Minister, short-term employment also has been affected with almost a 2 million decrease in this particular area. Honourable Minister, again, what are your plans in terms of going forward that would alleviate the problems caused by this short-term employment being decreased in this particular area with respect to the functioning of your ministry?
Let me deal with that, Madam Chairman. This short-term vote occurs in all the ministries. It's a phenomena where you have persons just being hired on 3 months at 3-month intervals and rolling over, and really it's an unsatisfactory situation, and we really need to migrate these people into either permanent positions or contract positions. So we're trying to suppress short-term employment across the service.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Minister of Sport, on the same issue of short-term employment, would you be able to be in a position to give us an idea of what are some of the positions offered in short-term employment in the past in the ministry?
We have some short-term in terms of the quantity, 79, and the positions would have been in youth affairs. We had some positions that we filled in youth affairs, monitoring and evaluation, IT, project management unit, research and planning unit, general administration.
Honorable Minister, again, to me it suggests that some of these areas really, according to Minister of Finance, is really areas that you would look for in long-term employment. So
Let me handle that. We are monitoring this situation very closely, and if I need to supplement the contract employment vote in the various ministries, I will. Okay, but I need to migrate people out of the short-term employment. If you know anything about it, it's really not satisfactory. They don't have vacation leave, they don't have benefits. Certainly. And they don't have security of tenure either. To get them out of that into contract employment.
Madam Chair, line 27 to the Honourable Minister. With respect to official overseas travel, there's been an allocation of 400,000 for the next financial year. Honourable Minister, can you indicate if there are any programs that the Ministry intends on embarking or partnering with international organizations, international meets, etc., that you intend to participate in over the next financial year, that you give us some clarity as to why such a large allocation for official overseas travel?
Through you, Madam Chair, I as Minister have not traveled in my first year, although being given a number of invitations, several invitations. We send people abroad for... I didn't go Rio, unlike the former minister, former minister. However, we have a number of training, and we get invited to Cuba, the Australias, the Chinas, and so on. And as minister, I will let my staff or members of the board or the chairman of the board go, and I'll stay and man the ship in these rough waters.
So you are saying, Minister, you intend to travel this forthcoming year? All right.
No, I didn't say that. I said I plan. I don't know how staying here to plan.
My apologies, Madam Chair.
Reached a watershed of
yes, ma'am. Yes.
Madam Chair, let me answer, Madam Chair. As I said, I have no intentions of traveling. I didn't travel in my first year. Sure. We have the discipline, and I think our staff and our members of the board are well capable of doing it.
Honourable Minister, I know the Minister of Finance has addressed this particular issue of university graduate recruit programs, and he spoke about all the ministries in terms of what is government's policy and vision for this particular program. My question really to you on this particular program is that I'm aware that there are several areas from the University of the West Indies that are now offering courses in sports management and so on. And a lot of these persons graduating out of these programs, they are having tremendous difficulty. I know that government has also been looking at the specialty areas in terms of what is really needed in terms of the state sector right now. I'm hoping that with this university graduate program that you would be able to offer some light to some of these persons who would have engaged themselves in these degree options. Or whether or not the ministry has already, started to engage some of them. Can you shed some light on this?
First of all, I want to congratulate the University of the West Indies for the first time in 40 years opening a new facility in sports. UTT has had a facility for several years, and they have graduates who graduate sports and sporting backgrounds, administration, science, and so on. And I'm very pleased, and all the ministers on this side were very happy when the Minister of Finance mentioned that you want to give young people a chance and opportunity, especially in my ministry, Sport and Youth Affairs. And we'll be looking to these young people to come in, not only at the ministry, but working with education as well to get them to the school programs to assist with regards to that as well.
But for Carney is?
I was just going to ask the Minister, what year was the University of the West Indies physical education building and center started?
This is item
Yeah, that was the same in relation to the...
Well, it's not an item, but
Item?
Yeah.
Well, I can answer. I mean,
No,
very knowledgeable as well.
Member, I understand that.
10 years ago. So don't...
Member, please. Item 002, Physical Education and Sport Division, page 452. Member for Princestown.
Madam Chair, again, if we look at line item 16 with respect to contract employment, I know the Honorable Minister of Finance has made some undertakings with respect to contract employment. So, but also if we look at the area of training, there has been a decrease by at least about more than a quarter, about a third of the original estimates from 2016. Honorable Minister, could you give us an idea of what type of training would be involved under the Physical Education and Sport Division?
Yes, we had a lot of issues over the last 5 years under your tenure with regards to leakage and mismanagement, especially with accounts and auditing. So we're going to be we have already started pumping in that area with regards to training, for they can look out for any issues with regards to leakage and proper management. In terms of when people request funds and so on, that we could have proper accounts so we could be on top of the game, so we could ensure that we have no mismanagement and leaking at that level as well.
And would this training be done in-house, or is this would be sourced externally?
A mixture of both.
And you are satisfied that with this allocation of 50,000, you'd be able to accomplish?
We did a lot of it last year in the first year. As you know, that was the year to clean up. And we did a lot of it last year, so this year is just to tidy up with regards to a few more people, and we should be okay.
Item 003, Dwight York Stadium, page 453. Member for Princestown.
Madam Chair, I know the Honourable Minister spoke earlier when I raised the issue of the rent lease arrangements and so on with respect to storage, that these facilities are now solely owned by the government of Trinidad and Tobago. Honourable Minister, I know that there is, or there has been mention of a program to upkeep these facilities. Could you indicate what is the status of that program as we speak in terms of the upkeep and maintenance of these facilities, and how have they been budgeted for in this fiscal year?
Thank you, Chairman. You would have seen the Hazy Crawford training track, for instance. In the history of the Hazy Crawford and Jean Pierre, those are over 40 years old. We had a football game the other day that the lights gave trouble, to give on your way to recall. We were even having difficulty getting parts for the panel box because they're over 40 years old. So in terms of the three nationals, the aquatic, the tennis and cycling, Shanghai is working with us. They're actually going to be having a software system that the maintenance will be done online, where they'll have alarms and so on for basic things as changing light bulbs and so on. We plan to buy more of those licenses this year, where we could expand it to the Dwight Yorks, the Hazy Crawford and so on. So it'll now be from a manual to a computerized system.
Honourable Minister, would you be able, I know you may not have the information at your fingertips, but if you can give us the information with respect to each facility, what is the budgeted allocation for each, and what are the scope of works that you intend to carry out over the next fiscal year with respect to some of these facilities?
This is under what? The maintenance?
This is with respect, well, we only did Dwight York
Yes.
Stadium. Honourable Minister had indicated the...
What line item are we on again?
Line item 15, ma'am, repairs and maintenance.
All right, and this would be repairs and maintenance equipment for Dwight York Stadium?
For Dwight York, but I'm asking whether or not, in light that Minister has indicated that there will be a program coming forward, whether or not he'll give an undertaking to give us for some of the other facilities as well.
Yeah, you could get it in writing. It's quite extensive, but
Yes,
in
I
terms
understand.
of Dwight York, we already did some work. We're in talks with THA right now, and again, it's very extensive. I'll get that in writing to you for all our national facilities.
Thank you.
Item 004, Youth Centers, pages 453 and 454. Member for Princestown.
Ma'am, through you to the Honourable Minister, line item 16, contract employment has received an increase of 62,760. Honourable Minister, could you give us an idea with respect to these youth centres, what type of contract employment you intend on providing, and what is currently existing in these youth centres with respect to employment on contract?
Well, Madam, Madam Speaker, 62,000 is it's a small figure in terms of contract employment, but we have a number of youth centers throughout the country that won't be in use. In fact, there was one in St. James that they had an opening in August, September prior to the election, and it sat there for a while without any program. So we are now finalizing with those new ones to have programs put in for the first time. We're teaching people to sew, to do decorations, we're having aerobics, cooking, and so on. And we have an extensive program with the people in the community being able to come in and teach these programs. So we're utilizing the people in the community to come in there and use the community to teach.
Member for Princess Town, I'm sorry.
Thank you, ma'am. Honorable Minister, if you turn to the issue of line item 22, short-term employment, where you see a decrease of over $1 million, in keeping in line with what the Minister of Finance said earlier, in terms of moving away from the short-term employment and looking at long-term employment, on the establishment, contract positions, and so forth. How does this rationalize with a slight increase in contract employment and a huge decrease in short-term employment?
Madam Chair, I really don't want to believe that we're going to sit down here to discuss $36,000. in the scope of things, that is probably one person we're talking about their employment.
Well, Honorable Minister, with all due respect, this may seem insignificant to you, but a taxpayer who can't afford to buy bread, these $36,000 will mean a lot to them.
Well, this $36,000 will give one person employment to buy bread. They have to look at it that way. You're optimistic, not pessimistic.
Well, Honorable Minister, while I appreciate your optimism, we also have to be practical, and this is not practical.
To have one person employed $36,000?
No, Minister. What I am saying is that the short-term employment has been decreased by over $1 million, while you have increased
the short-term by $36,000.
You have increased contract employment by just over 60,000, sorry. And what I'm asking is, how do you rationalize the short-term employment cut when you have only increased contract employment, meaning longer contracts, by only 60,000? I'm just asking for a rationalization of it.
We have people doing cutting of grass and so on like that, basic maintenance in the yard and so on. If that's looking gardening, they'll touch up with paint and so on. Basic maintenance. People in the community again being able to buy bread.
Item 005, Youth Affairs, page 454. No, I did youth centers already. Item, yes, member for Princess Town.
Ma'am, line item we're looking at is line item 08 with respect to rent lease, office accommodation and storage under the heading Youth Affairs 05. Honorable Minister, can you indicate to us what these facilities are with respect to line item 08? Just an idea.
Page 454.
That's one. It's going to be in the same head office. That's 4,360 increase is what you're talking about, Princess Town?
Yes.
08?
08.
This occurred when the Ministry of, remember sport was separated. Correct. And Youth Affairs was under Gender and Youth, yes. Right? When you all expanded the government by 10 ministries, we have brought it back down now. And now that's going to be working with us. Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs are going to be one, so that's why you're seeing that reduction there.
And Honorable Minister, if you look at line item 16, again, just to draw to your attention, you have a decrease of close to $2 million with respect to contract employment in the area of youth affairs. How would this impact on existing employees on contract employment in the area of youth affairs?
I mentioned that on a former page. Not only youth affairs, it's sports officers, SDOs as well. And I said we have been consulting with the youth groups in the communities, and we're going to be making it up. I mean, it's 18 billion in revenue to 1.7. We have to make some changes, and we're going to be making it up by utilizing and working with the youth groups in the areas.
So you're in consultation with them with respect to these cuts?
Always.
Member for Kamutu Manzanilla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable Minister, line item number 17, training. Can you identify what the training, who will be trained, and because it's a small amount, and I just wanted to know, it's a new line item, so what is it intended to achieve?
Yeah, this came out with consultation with the youth groups in the communities, certain basic training that they're going to be needed, and we're going to also be utilizing the community centers. As I said earlier, these community centers were just left there without any programs, and we're going to be pumping programs in there. So basic programs, very, very low cost, of which we're going to give employment for people in the communities.
Have you identified which communities you're going to be starting?
Or where we have youth facilities.
How many is that?
Nine youth facilities.
Member for Chaguanas West.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That leads us into the next question, line item 22, short-term employment. So you're going to have training and you're going to create employment. That is what you said. This 500,000 is a new item that is allocated for short-term employment. What is the nature of this short-term employment?
Right, as I said before, there weren't much going on in the community centers. Case in point, the most recent one that we worked with was in St. James, and there weren't any staff or anybody doing anything in it, so we're going to be utilizing that to have programs and having people employed to assist us in these facilities, in these 9 facilities.
What is the objective of this exercise? You're making employment. You're going to have training. It's
to train the young people of these communities. As I said, these buildings have been standing there with nothing going on in them. We want to ensure that the people in the communities are able to benefit from proper training.
In what way?
And by extension, the people in the communities will be given the opportunity to work in the training.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. What areas of training with what objective in mind you're putting for this project?
Right. And again, it comes from the consultation. Each community is different. We've been consulted with all the youth areas. Yes, the youth officers in the areas have been reporting to us, and each are unique, although Trinidad and Tobago is small, and each have different needs. If you want, I can send you a list of the program for all 9.
Well, you undertake to do that, but I would really let us use St. James as an example.
No problem.
What will you be doing in that area?
Not what we'll be doing. We have already started.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Sewing, cooking, plumbing. It's a youth facility, not sport. Right? These are the kind of programs, decorating, dancing, aerobics. Those are the kind of events that we've been hosting and activities that we've been hosting at these youth facilities.
Okay.
That building stood up there for 10 years without any programs.
I understand. It's becoming clear to me.
All right, cool.
Member for Princess Town.
Again, the rationalization in terms of what the Honorable Minister of Finance just shared with us. He indicated that we were moving, he was trying, or the government's policy was to move away from this short-term employment and give persons real sustainable jobs. When I raised the issue of contract employment as well. But I don't understand the rationalization where you have introduced a sub-item, item 22, short-term employment, giving it 500,000 on the short-term employment, bringing it as a new line item, but then you are decreasing it. So it really is a contradiction of what the Honourable Minister of Finance had indicated. Would you wish to give us a rationalization in light of what the Honourable Minister of Finance has indicated?
So really, you want to know why introduce a new item of short-term?
Of short-term employment when you're trying to move away from
Madam
it?
Chair, I think I've been repetitive. I just told 2 or 3 members on that side that for the past 5 years, these youth facilities have been standing there not doing anything. So in terms of the youth and the communities, we now want to utilize and get people in short-term in the communities. I mentioned bread and helping the people in the areas so they could be able to teach the people in the areas.
And that is your rationalization.
Member
I said it twice.
Manzanilla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable Minister, how does what it is your ministry intends to do? How does it compete with what the Ministry of Community Development would normally do? Would there be a competition for the same clientele? 1, and 2. When you speak about $500,000 for 9 communities, you're in fact looking at, if you have to divide it, just about 55,000 plus. For 9 communities, I mean, how many persons can you in fact employ and give sustainable jobs with that figure? I'm just asking.
Yeah, these programs, it varies in times. I mean, a course won't last a year. Some courses are 6 weeks, some courses are 3 weeks, a month, and so on. But if you want, I could give you a list of what we've done last year, what we plan to do. And in terms of the overlap, I mean, a number of the ministries are close. Education deal with young people. We deal with young people as well. Social development will have young people coming to them as well. As you, as a former minister, as the 9 of you all on the other side that were ministers before, will understand that sometimes there's a very close line among the ministries, but we have to work together.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman. And that's my point. The thing about it is because of the fact that the Minister of Finance has identified very early the lack of resources, the limited resources, and each minister has been indicating that. Is it prudent really for the overlapping to be so much overlapping to take place, as opposed to coming together, having an interministerial committee to determine, well, this is where we will stop at this point. So there's not much money is being expended. Duplicity.
I don't know where the line item is, but I could answer. It's actually, we have an interministerial committee to deal with that. Ministry of Culture, Minister of Social Development, myself. As you would have known as a former minister yourself, where we also have duplication of people coming for funding, where they will write to the Ministry of Sport, they will write to the Youth Arm, they will write to Social, they will write to Cultural, and they'll get money from the three. So it goes beyond just employment, but it also goes with regards to people writing to get funding. And we have a interministerial committee that we have formed, and we're looking at ensuring that everybody bats in the crease.
Member for Shogunas East.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With respect to these youth centers and the courses that you're putting on, I have the following questions. Number one.
Youth affairs, huh?
Youth affairs.
What line item?
Well, training, you were just discussing training with my colleague.
Yeah.
What informs the courses that you will engage in training within the community? Is there a labor market study, or is there anything? Tell me what informs the selection of the courses.
Well, it's good to hear Shogunas West making joke and fun of the people in these communities. I mean, but that's how they do things.
It's just for us to endure the process.
Sad to say. But no, as I said, we consult with the people, the community, the young people in the areas, and we find out what their needs are when they go to job interviews, why they get blank, and that's why we work with them.
Do you use any data from any of the agencies within the government service?
As I said, we work with the interministerial task force, and we work together to pull all that information when we're going forward.
Okay,
But what we try to do is to ensure that the people in the area get employment.
Okay, because I'm looking at the whole aspect of training and employment. What award do you offer to these people when they graduate?
They get a certificate. From the ministry. From the ministry.
Okay. Is it articulated to anything else? They could use that within, say, for example, the vocational system?
Right. So we have follow-up with them. As you know, under the Ministry of Sport and Youth, you have Presto, and Chatham as well. And, of course, we have been directing young people who go to those programs who may not be in school to enter these camps. And so far, we've been very successful with regards to that. In fact, I have great news to with regards to certification and those two camps that we're working with UTT for the first time in the history of Trinidad, that they will be having a UTT certificate coming out from those programs.
Okay. I'll ask on another head.
Item 006, National Youth Development and Apprenticeship Centers, page 455. Member for Shogunas East.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. It follows on the answer that the Honourable Minister just gave to me. With respect to repairs and maintenance, I'm on line item 21, buildings. You mentioned Presto and the Chatham Youth Camp. Could you indicate how many trainees are currently attending courses at these two youth camps?
Well, I don't know how repairs
the buildings, what
have to do with
Just a minute, please. Repairs and maintenance.
Repairs and maintenance of buildings.
Yes.
Because what happens is that you refurbish the buildings to cater for the people who are the trainees at these facilities. So I just wanted to know, in terms of the repairs and maintenance of the buildings, what's the capacity? How many persons are attending these courses?
Oh, you want to know the capacity of the buildings?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was very pleased that as Minister of Sport and Youth, I attended both graduations last year. In fact, the graduating class of both Chatham and Presto, who my guests at 2 Soca Warrior games ago, some of them never even saw the Soca Warriors play live, and they were very pleased. And we have been following up with them after graduation to ensure that they get employment. We're working with them. This year, the program starts in November. And
how many
I'm getting to that. The enrollment maximum that we have for both of them is 80 and 80. So 160 young men going to be going to these two programs, 2-year programs.
The dormitory capacity?
The capacity is 240.
And you have 80 in each?
240 for the two.
For the two?
Yeah, but we're going at 80 in terms of making sure that we have a proper ratio to ensure that the students get the best out of it.
Member for Princess Town.
Honorable Minister, with respect to line item 28, other contracted services under the National Youth Development and Apprenticeship Centers, can you give us an idea of what these contract services entail? And also, if you look at line item right under 40, food at institutions, whether or not these meals are done in-house or they're contracted out, what is the function with respect to the food at institutions in line item 40?
All right, I'm told that these contractors do basic maintenance on these facilities. That's what that shows there. And I didn't hear the second question.
With respect to line item 40, is it done in-house? I see an increase of 60,000. Is it done in-house?
Yes, they cook in-house. In fact, they have some wildlife. They have some.
Have you had the chance to sample?
Yes, actually. And I want to thank the Minister of Agriculture who's working with us to get some equipment and some tractors and stuff like that. But yes, the 3 or 4 visits that I did in the 1 year, I hadn't seen a minister there for years. And I visited them a few times. I was able to get a nice warm meal from those guys.
Governors West.
Thank you. I just dealing with the food at institutions, and I have no problems with that. But this is associated with the youth camps, the various youth camps. I noticed in passing the minister mentioned wildlife. I think that they have domesticated animals that they look after.
Them chicken and them bad up there, right?
No.
Bad. Come on, they pick you.
Yeah. So I just.
Don't go up there, Shogunas West. They might attack you.
No. I just had when the minister mentioned.
Yard fowl.
Okay, settle down now.
When the minister mentioned wildlife, I hope he went there during the hunting season.
No, but they have sheep and goat and chickens.
That's what I said, domesticated animals.
Subhead 03, minor equipment purchases, page 456, item 001, general administration, page 456. Item 002, physical education and sport division, page 456. Item 003, Dwight York Stadium, page 456. Item 004, youth centers, page 457. Item 005, youth affairs, page 457. Item 006, National Youth Development and Apprenticeship Centers, page 457. Subhead 04, current transfers and subsidies, page 458. Item 002, Commonwealth bodies, page 458. Item 005, non-profit institutions, page 458. Member for Princestown.
Honorable Minister, line item 02 under non-profit institutions, an increase for the Boxing Board of Control by over 250,000. Could you give us an indication of why this increase has been made and whether or not and if you can advise, who are the current members of the Boxing Board?
This is the quietest the Boxing Board has been in years. So, little thanks, so, Madam Chair. We have not any bacchanalia in boxing is a reward.
Please leave the chair out of it.
I'm not calling any
No
name.
boxing, Minister.
Chair. So it's a reward for the quiet. No, I'm just joking.
No boxing.
No, the new chairman, is Mr. Barry Ishmael, 6th-degree black belt, Dr. Barry Ishmael, and a couple of the other members. I can get the list for you in terms of the members, but he's planning a number of community events where he's going to be working with the young people and the several boxing gyms across the country to assist them.
I'll defer to you. Go ahead. Kabuta Mansanella.
Madam Chair, Honorable Minister, in light of the fact that there's a decrease funding, particularly with the non-profit institutions, what criteria will the ministry use to identify which institution will receive funding, and how does it impact upon them?
Yeah, good question. One of the issues that we would have had in the past, as you know, is leakage and mismanagement in this department with regards to funding. What we have been doing is tightening up on the governing bodies, the elite funding and so on, that all paperwork and documents are accurate, and we put in a little more process with regards to giving out funding. So it's not that easy. You just come and you wave a piece of paper and you get funding that occurred over the last 5 years. It's a proper screening process, and it has frightened away the people who may have come in the past for money not for the purpose that it was intended for, and we have tightened up on that aspect of it, and so far we've been working quite well, and we intend to continue that this year.
Chair, can I have a follow-up? Thank you. Therefore, you would recommend that persons who are interested in receiving funding to, in fact, apply pretty early. Are you suggesting that they do so, and what time frame are you looking at?
No, well,
because I understand the stringent methods that you would have persons go through and so forth. So I mean, where persons would have sent a request a week before.
Yeah, those days are done. Not only in the communities, all governing bodies. It's written in the laws and the policies with regards to funding. Before people will come, as you say, a week before a tournament abroad and so on, and use the athletes and the children and go to the media to get the funding. We're being strict with regards to that. You have a period of time in the policy that you have to bring in your paperwork. All governing bodies have been written a letter that they have to have audited accounts put in, and they've been doing that, or else no funding. So we've been tightening up the schools. As I said, our first year was to clean up, and it's been working so far. So I see no problem with us working with this figure throughout the year.
South.
Madam Chair, in the context of maintenance of regional complexes and so on, I see no allocation, Minister. How you plan to address this particular issue?
What line item is that?
Line item 34, member for Curaçao.
12 and 34.
Oh, that is not under us anymore. You will see that's under community development, sir.
Okay.
Member for Naparima.
Thank you. Madam Chair, to the Minister, item 29, I take it, non-profit institutions, $15 million allocated. I take these are the various sporting bodies that you give allocations to. Does the ministry see its role not only as giving out funding, but also as directing these organizations to develop structures that could lead to Trinidad being a first world country in terms of sports? So the question is, Jamaica has a structured program in athletics. Cuba has in boxing and whatnot. Do we have an equivalent thing so that, for example, in football, what happened yesterday doesn't?
Very good question. Our policy, our sporting policy expires next year. Also our youth policy, and as you don't know, we've been consulted. We've started that process for the first time. We brought all the stakeholders in the Olympics, and they came and they ventilated, and that just scratched the surface. We're going to have a number of other meetings, and we're going to come up with some changes to the sport policy and the youth policy. And I'm in contact with the Minister of Jamaica Sport and Youth Affairs on a weekly basis, and that's a good point. They lean heavily on their alumni. One of the things that you would have noticed this year, for the first time, sport has been very quiet with regards to Bacchanal. That assists us with corporate Trinidad and private sector coming on board to support us. And we've been seeing that. We've been seeing a number of international and local companies coming on board and supporting football, cricket, and so on. And we've seen that as helping us bridge the gap.
So the bodies to which you give money would be tied to some kind of informed platform of ideas,
yes,
so that ultimately we could see, like in soccer, we at a certain level, boxing at another level, and in athletics. Because, okay.
Member for Chaguanas West.
Madam Chair, with respect to non-profit institutions, Minister, you outlined certain criteria and a process. Could you make that available to members of Parliament?
Oh, sure. There's a policy I could print out, and it's online as well. It's on our website as well. For elite funding and for governing bodies, what you have to do to fill out to get those funding. And grant funding as well.
Member for Princess Town.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable Minister, line item 30, athlete assistance and development. I see that there has been, there's nothing there. Can you care to explain? Has it been moved?
No, it's now merging with the NPID non-profit institute. It's not going to be merged with
Okay, so it's merged.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Item 007, households, at page 48, member for Point of Pale.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To the Honourable Minister, line item 03, hosting of vacation camps. Could he enlighten what that is about and
where
these camps were held in 2016 and where it's proposed for 2017?
There are two camps that we was, for the first time we brought back the Easter sports camp and the summer sports camp. And we also brought back a youth camp, which was very, very successful in a number of schools throughout the country during the Easter vacation and the summer vacation. And we plan to do that again next year.
Madam Chair, follow-up. Could the Minister, if we don't have it right now, could he list?
I could give you the list. It was in the newspaper. We had a fuller, but I could send you the list of locations again. And it's online as well.
Thank you.
Member for Princess Town.
Madam Chair. Through you to the Honourable Minister. Minister, line item 03, hosting of vacation camps. We look forward to that information with respect to the locations, the dates to which it commence, etc. Honourable Minister, could you indicate at this time with the hosting of these vacation camps whether or not corporate support was also incorporated into the hosting of these camps?
I know we approached a few organizations. I don't know if it came through, but they weren't private. I think B-Mobile and a couple government agencies were approached, but I don't think anything came out of it. But we plan to do that next year, as I said, as we clean up sport and we clean up the image of the ministry. We are seeing now that private sectors are willing to partner with us more.
Would you be able to provide us with that information subsequently when you're providing us with the locations of whether any corporate entities had participated in terms of sponsorship and the allocations made?
No problem.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Would the Minister be able to tell me, in respect of item 03, hosting of vacation camps, if any were held in the general area of the constituency of Naparima?
He said he's going to give us the list.
No, I know he's going to give me the list, but at least on that list, is Naparima included?
I'm sure in the vicinity of Naparima, yes. Trinidad is a small place, so yes.
No. Well, the question is any held in Naparima?
I can't remember. It's several that we did. I remember we did it Easter, summer, we did it youth and sports. So for me to remember that list, but we had a full page ad in the newspaper.
Promise to supply the information.
My information, none was held.
Item 009, other transfers, page 459, member for Princess Town.
Madam Chair, thank you. Honourable Minister, line item 04, the Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago, an allocation of 104 million. Honourable Minister, with an allocation of 104 million, would you be able to be in a position, may not be today, but you could provide it to us subsequently, in terms of what are the projects to be undertaken with this allocation in the Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago, and also whether or not the position of CEO of the Sport Company has been filled, or is it still vacant?
Is that part of the line item, the CEO?
Well, it falls under the Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay, no problem. In terms of the role of the sport company, again, I could give it in writing as well.
Sure.
But they also have NGBs under them, and it's a question that you've been asking in the Parliament, apart from the question with regards to the summer, which you will get the answer, very thorough answer in the Parliament when we return. But in terms of the sport company, there's something called the Sports Commission, Sports Institute, where you tend to be confusing with the academy, and I've answered it. I say you ask the Minister for Works for the thing, and you pull the question, so I think you're not getting the message. But I'm getting to it, Speaker, Chairman, in terms of the sport company, there's a lot of duplications that we're going to be working to morph the sports company into the Sports Commission. Case in point, the Ministry of Sports has governing bodies, we have governing bodies. They fund it. They do projects, we do projects. They do maintenance, we do maintenance. Doesn't make any sense. In Jamaica, there are 7 people that work in the Ministry of Sport. 7. And they have 3 or 4 companies. One deals with governing bodies, one deals with maintenance and infrastructure. So we're going to be re-looking at that, and you'll be very pleased by midterm or by next year fiscal year when we're doing the same process. You may not have a line item here as sport company, we may have several or a new dispensation.
Member. Member for Princetown.
Madam Chair, I understand the Minister's point about streamlining in terms of the projects and so on, but it still doesn't answer the question with respect to the position of CEO of the Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago.
They're finalizing right now the pay structure, not just for the CEO, but for all the employees of the Ministry of Sport Company. We're looking at the entire thing, but they have isolated someone and they're finalizing that now.
Honorable Minister, is someone acting in the position?
Is there someone acting? No.
So there's no one acting in the position? Can you indicate since when the position has been vacant?
It was always vacant because you always had somebody acting. We never remember there were a number of people that resigned under the last government, including the chairman and so on. There were 3 boards, 3 chairmen and so on, along with the 9 ministers of sport. So there was not a CEO at the time. So we have now to go. We are the acting CEO.
Minister,
9 Minister of Sports and Youth Affairs.
Minister?
9. But let's not get into that, Minister of Finance. There was not a CEO at the sport company when we came in. There was an acting, and now we have finalizing to have the post of CEO filled.
Minister, you just indicated that no one has been in the position, and then you said that at one point someone was acting.
You asked the question if there's anybody acting now. No, there's nobody in the position now.
There's no one in the position now.
No, we have a very, very competent chairman and a board.
He's an executive chairman?
No, he's not. We have fantastic directors that work there. But as I said, we're going to be relooking at the entire sport company and move forward. We'll be very pleased with the system that we have here.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 13, National Football Development Plan. The estimates was 7 million in 2016. I know the Minister of Finance has said that the revised estimates are not the actual spend, but I got the sense that that is as close as possible, subject to the final figures coming in. So just only 15,000 was spent. Is there a reason for that? And what is the purpose of this National Football Development Plan, and how is it proceeding?
Well, as I said before, through you, Madam Chair, that we clean up sport. You would have known, I think it was one of your colleagues, there were a number of issues in sports, in football in particular. There's a new board at TTFA, and they're cleaning up, and for the first time, they're able to get funding from FIFA, where they'll be getting millions of dollars. In fact, the Minister of Finance and the Cabinet, we're going to be discussing with regards to some plans that FIFA have for Trinidad and Tobago, finally, because remember, all our funding was freezed based on former advisors that were close to the other side. But my point is that we have worked closely with the TTFA, and they have cleaned up the act. They have sent in the audited accounts to FIFA. Now that the pipe of funding has been opened back, it's taken off a strain off of the ministry as well. They have qualified for the HEX, which they get some serious US dollars to assist them moving forward.
So you are satisfied that the $100,000 would be enough to fulfill our ambitions?
It wouldn't have been enough before, but now based on they're cleaning up, and we work with them to get the audited accounts done finally, they can move forward together.
Would the Minister therefore tell us where we are with respect to football development in the context of the next World Cup? How are we? I'm asking that in the context of the $100,000, and you say everything is cleaned up and everything is hunky-dory. Where are we in that process?
Well, the hunky-dory is the administrative part, the money, the dollars and cents, the bacchanal that goes on. The playing on the field, I leave the stars to the astronomers, that's the coaches and so on. And part of the funding is getting coaching the coaches, coaching the technical staff, to improve them, going to courses, show the world, Switzerland and so on, and also having young people get scholarships and so on. So we're working very closely with them, and I anticipate that Trinidad and Tobago will qualify for Russia.
For the World Cup?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Shogunas East.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm looking at line item 11, Sports Dispute Resolution Center. Out of the estimates of 680, only 10% was utilized, and 10% again allocated. Where is this unit located? How many persons constitute this center? And what work has it done? Line item 11.
The center, what is that?
Page 459.
The PSA just got me the list of people on that. There's a number of disputes that occur throughout the year in sports with the governing bodies, with coaches, with selection of players and so on. So there are a number of issues that occur. So got it to this board. I could send you a list. He has the wrong list. He has anti-doping, which is one of the boards that we have to do. But there's a board that we are setting up with regards to sport dispute resolutions that I could send you that in writing.
Okay, the follow-up question really is, given the small amount that you would have been utilized, and of course that may be in response to the amount of conflicts that you may have to deal with, do you think this is adequately resourced?
Yes, I think this will be able to work. We work closely with our legal team, both at the sport company and the Ministry of Sport, and so they substitute where there is need to. Let's go on, Chairman.
Finish, Member Shogunas. Member for Shogunas West.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 04, the Sports Company of Trinidad and Tobago. In my constituency, the sports company did some refurbishment work to a ground in John Peter Road. That contract was never completed. I'd like to get a status in writing, an update on that. That's
not only that project. In coming in 2015 September 7, there are a number of unfinished projects. In fact, I'm called almost every day with contractors who weren't paid from 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I could give you a full list, not just by you, because it's Trinidad and Tobago we're dealing with here.
I want
and
the
I
list.
send you the list with all the contractors for the past 5 years that weren't paid, and all the projects that weren't paid, finished in the 5-year period. There's a long list that we do in our audits now to ensure. Can I finish, Chairman?
Sure.
I'm answering the question. There's a long list of unfinished projects similar to yours, unpaid contractors, and that we're doing an audit now that I could give you that full audit list soon.
I'm not dealing with contractual repayment and payment is one issue. The issue for the community which I represent and is that you have an unfinished project which is an eyesore in the community. During the rainy season, it becomes a reservoir, and that therefore I want to know when the sport company, which is under your jurisdiction, going to complete that project for the benefit of the community.
And I'm saying you're not isolated, member for Shogunas West. There are a number of projects that were started that were stopped for whatever reason, including the Brian Lara Stadium in Couva. So you will get a list and I'll let you know.
No, I want to know what is your plan.
I'm just telling you I cannot answer you now because it's not just you alone. There are a number of other projects.
So you can't answer now?
I can't answer you because there are a number of projects that were stopped under the last regime.
So you are working on a plan?
We're doing an audit because there are some people that... Do you know what happened in that project by you? Do you know why it stopped?
Tell me.
But that's what I'm saying. So we're doing an audit.
Tell me.
I don't know. It started under y'all.
Right.
It started under y'all. Okay. So that's what we're figuring out now.
So that, would it be that in the listing, the status will be given?
That and others, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And the public will be very pleased to see.
Remedial plan.
The public will be very pleased to see it, Chair.
Remedial plan. Next question.
Princess Down?
Next question.
You have a question?
Same. I have three questions. Yeah. Trinidad and Tobago Anti-Doping Organization. You have an allocation of 100,000 for that, for 08.
Yeah.
Is that sufficient to deal with the question of doping, now that doping is so highlighted in sports in every sector?
Yeah, good question. Thank God Trinidad and Tobago has not any major issues with doping, and I bless the people and the athletes for keeping discipline.
You haven't been to horse racing?
But horse racing is not under me, it's under the Ministry of Trade. They could deal with that when that comes up, but I can speak for sport. We are now, this money is to formulate a board. We're going to formulate a board that's going to be dealing with it, and when the board comes to us with regards to what they need, we'll furnish with regards to what funds is needed.
Yeah. Then I deal with, okay, we haven't got to transfer to state enterprises, is it?
No, not as yet.
Okay.
For Princess Down? Next one. Okay, so that we now go on to item 011, transfers to state enterprises, page 459, member for Shogunas West.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. To the Honourable Minister, First Citizens Bank, item 01, FCB repayment of loan, Brian Lara Cricket Stadium. Could you provide an indication of the quantum of monies that were borrowed to build this enterprise, the principal, the interest, and also the final cost of this stadium?
Well, I could go backwards. The final cost was ventilated there several times, 90 million for us to finish. Remember, it was 95% completed. It was stopped for the past 5 years under your government. Let me finish. In terms of the information, Chairman, I will...
Yeah, in writing.
Yeah. Well, I'm going backwards. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to give him the balance and the capital and stuff in writing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Member for Princess Town.
Chair, thank you. Honorable Minister, line item 01, again, First Citizens Bank Limited, repayment of loan for the Brian Lara Stadium. Honorable Minister, with respect to the Brian Lara Stadium, when you look at the State Enterprise Investment Program, it says under details of programs for 2017, the project is scheduled to be handed over in fiscal 2017. The estimated cost was revised from 1,293 million to 1,137 million, which is really a difference of 156 million. Would you care to elaborate on that?
This is the completion of the Brian Lara Stadium.
Yes.
Right. UDECOT is the contractor for it, and they've assured us that it will cost us 90 million to complete it.
But, Minister, if you look at, the State Enterprise Investment Program, the projected cost for the continued work on the Brian Lara Stadium for completion is 156 million and not 90 million.
Well, you should be happy, member for Princess Town. PNM at work again, be saving the people's money.
No, Minister. This is an increase. This is not a decrease. If you turn to page 85 of the State Enterprise Investment Program, the numbers demonstrate that the PNM is spending 156 additional million on the Brian Lara Stadium. The numbers are in black and white.
You want to answer that?
It is on page 85 of the State Enterprise Investment.
Members, we are at page 459. Item 011, item 01. Can I ask the Minister of Finance to intervene here, please?
With respect to this line item?
With respect to the Brian Lara Stadium.
01. The First Citizens loan.
First Citizens loan?
Yeah.
With respect to the Brian Lara Stadium.
01.
01. But when you turn to the State Enterprise Investment Program, your figures do not add up with respect to what you are saying. Minister, when the member for Chaguanas West asked you what is the projected cost, you said 90 million. I am showing you that in your own State Enterprise Investment Program, those numbers are not reflected. It is in fact 156 million. And if you turn to page 85, it is there in black and white.
All right? So the question has been asked.
Yeah, I will answer the question. This line item on page 459 refers to... This line item on page 459 refers to the repayment of a loan. It's the amount provided to the Ministry of Sport to pay the loan payments that will become due in 2017 with respect to that particular loan. It has nothing to do with the expenditure on that project in 2017.
Yeah, Minister,
the two are completely different.
I think the issue comes out of a response on the Minister of Sport and Youth Affairs.
No, but I'm answering it now.
90
this
million.
Is just a loan payment. The 90 million that the Honourable Minister is referring to is expenditure.
Members, if you're listening, then we won't have to have this restated, and then if there are further questions, then they could be asked from a platform of information.
Yeah, the $90 million that the Minister is referring to is the estimated expenditure that would be spent between fiscal 2016 and fiscal 2017 to complete that facility. That has nothing to do with the allocation here for a loan repayment on a previous loan arrangement. The two are completely separate.
Okay. We finished? Honorable members, we will now move on to the draft estimates of the development program. We're going on to another book. Subhead 09, Development Program. Consolidated Fund, page 205. Item 004, Social Infrastructure, pages 205 and 206. Member for Point of Peace, Your Honor. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To the Honourable Minister, item line 117, improvement to indoor sporting arenas, estimated 6 million for 2017. If the Minister doesn't have it right now, he could provide a listing of those indoor sporting arenas that are scheduled to be improved for 2017.
We could get that to you through the chair.
No, yeah.
Member for Princestown.
Honorable Minister, line item 005, development of a youth employment policy, and I know my colleague from...
Item 004, social infrastructure.
My apologies.
If there are no other questions, I now go on to item 005, multi-sectoral and other services, page 207, member for Princestown.
Honorable Minister, with respect to line item 05, development of a youth employment policy, I know my colleague from Chaguanas East had asked this in a similar manner with respect to another line item, but with respect to the youth employment policy, can you indicate what factors are driving the establishment
we are now on 005, multi-sectoral and other services.
Can I answer that already?
Okay? We at page 207, item 005, multi-sectoral and other services. Members for Princestown, do you have a question there? Please, thank you.
Honorable Minister, with respect to line item 009, development of a domestic sport research database, can you indicate at this point what has come out of the establishment of this database, and whether or not it's being done in-house or it's been contracted out, and whether or not you're partnering with other intergovernmental agencies to establish this database, because I know many of them would have had past experience and very good IT people in this field within the government service.
Madam Chair, through you, in our consultation with the governing bodies, the 50 plus governing bodies, they were all given questionnaires to assist us with that data, basic data that wasn't there before. So we were able to do that internally, the first step. The second step that we've been working with our staff and the IT department and other departments, communications to help us. But at one point, we're going to have to tender out or go out to get some professionals to assist us to pull everything together so we can have a platform where the public could access this information online as well.
Infrastructure Development Fund, page 343, item 004, social infrastructure, pages 343 and 344. Member for Miaro.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Honorable Minister, I'm looking at item 137, development and upgrading of recreational grounds, parks and spaces. I see there's an allocation of $14 million for the 2017 estimate. Earlier this year, I sent both Sport TT and your ministry a request for consideration of the Miaro recreational ground. Is there any intention to do any work in this fiscal year on that recreational ground, sir? Thank you.
Madam Chair, through you, we got several requests. I've been to most of the constituencies, and we're now finalizing with regards to the funds we have, which is the best way forward with regards to the data that we have collected. As you would have seen, this weekend we opened in, worked with Mover to have a Pro League play there, so we want to make sure that we get the best bang for the buck. And of course, I did remember the letter that was given, and we'll be giving you some reply soon with regards to that. But Miaro is very close to the government. We know a lot of sport people come from there, Cleopatra and so on. And we intend to, remember I said it's a marathon, not a sprint, and we'll get it done.
Member for Princestown.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable Minister, line item 149, the construction of the Diego Martin Sporting Complex. Can you give us an idea of what progress has been made in this area in terms of completion, what percentage of completion, and also if you can provide us with the information as to who are the contractors on this particular project?
I could get you that in writing in terms of the contractor is SRI, is the contractor. This was a project that started several years ago. It was, when I was chairman of the Diego Martin Major Corporation, was invited by one of your former ministers of sport to start back the project. It never happened. And the project has started, and we are now finalizing with regards to getting some financing to finish up the project. But I think it's in its early stages still.
Honorable Minister, line item 100, the development of a master plan for sport and youth facilities and allocation of 2 million. Could you shed some light in terms of what is this master plan about?
Yeah, that goes along with regards to our plan and the audit that we're doing, but more importantly, the software package that we're going to be utilizing to maintain all. And again, we're still in the infantile stage of that plan, but we want to ensure that all our facilities, both youth and sport, the recreational fees as well, are in one place that we could keep on top of it, that our staff could keep on top of it, with technology rather than with utilizing GPS and so on, to ensure that with the software that we could be on top of it. So we want to ensure that we have all our facilities under one umbrella, a software package that we could maintain it for the best for the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
Honorable Minister, I know you mentioned in the context of streamlining earlier with respect to the master plan for sport and youth facilities. Do you have a timeline in terms of when you expect this project to be completed?
Yeah, the sporting and youth policy expires next year. So right now we already started, as you would have seen for the first time, the minister, the sport company, the PS, all the directors have met with all the governing bodies, not just for sport but for youth. And we have taken back all that data and information. We now meet with the athletes, the coaches, the teachers who assist with the young people, and we're all going to consult and come together next year and finalize changes, not necessarily a new plan, because the plan has been there. We're going to tweak it to suit.
Honorable Minister, again, just to follow up on something that you said a few minutes ago with respect to consultations with the athletes and so on. I know you had also mentioned that you were in constant contact with the Minister of Sport in Jamaica. As you are aware, Jamaica has an athlete program that begins at the primary school level. Any such consideration in terms of if you're looking at the change management of the structures that deals with athletes, is there any consideration being given with instituting a program at the primary level here in Trinidad and Tobago?
Yeah, all governing bodies were mandated for the first time not just to have a program in the primary school, but for females. Right, as you recall, this is the biggest female amount of people that went to the Olympics in terms of females, but not just primary school, but young people as well. So a number of sporting bodies have introduced leagues and programs in the primary and secondary schools. We are working with the Ministry of Education to finalize a plan, and later on in this year, you'll be seeing something that will really be changing the face of sport in Trinidad and Tobago.
Sure. Honorable Ma'am, just one follow.
Member for Coover South.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am focusing on the upgrade and rehabilitation of former Caroni sports facilities. I see that 2016 you had an estimate of 5 million and 1 was spent in your revised estimate, and don't know, you should be familiar with the Castle ground. A ground that has been used for a number of trial facilities and so on.
And the question is?
What are your plans? Have you abandoned any of this upgrade and so on?
Remember, for Coover, you know I spent a lot of time in your area working. We did a visit, because there are a number of national facilities in your area which you've been invited. You need some of us as the Minister.
I'm talking about the...
But nevertheless, the Minister of Tourism formed a team, myself and the Minister of Culture as well was a part of that team, where there are a number of different aspects of that whole facility. As you know, there's a museum there as well, with the Sugar Great House and so on. And they started doing work at a golf course there.
The museum is separate and apart from Gilbert Park.
Yeah, I get into the answer. In terms of the golf course, you're asking work being done at the golf course?
No, I'm concerned about Gilbert Park.
Is that...
Let me guide you to Burken Castle roundabout.
Oh, the Caroni ground. Yes, that is one of the grounds that we also spoke about with the the member for Mayaro, and I'll be looking at it as well.
The member for...
Mayaro spoke about grounds being worked on. Remember, I spoke on that with regards to a number of MPs have sent information on the grounds on the area. We're now finalizing to look at all to move forward.
So Gilbert Park is on your radar?
It's on the radar. Remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Member for Oropuch
I hope you could finish the
Member
marathon.
for Oropuch East.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Page 343, and I'm focusing on 137 and 150. Minister, you can tell us if you also spend any time in Oropuch East, unknown to us. The development and upgrading of recreation grounds and parks. I see you had an actual in 2015 of $482, $500,000. You had a revised in 2016 of $500,000. And then in 2017, there's an estimate of $14 million. So clearly this will be something to be emphasized in the ministry, and you would have the institutional capacity to deliver $14 million in work. Could I ask if there are two grounds in particular, the Suraj Trace Recreation Ground, where a site has been found in Debe, and Dubison Ground, an upgrade program in Dubison Ground, which is in the good constituency of San Fernando East. No close vicinity to my residence, but the Dubison Ground and the Suraj Trace Ground in Debe, if work could be started, in one case in Suraj Trace, and continued at Dubison Ground. And my second question, which I'll just leave to you, 150, construction of a swimming pool in Laventille. You have an allocation of 1.5 million. Is this a project being undertaken by UDCOT? And what is $1.5 million for? Is it for the design, for some technical survey? This cannot be for the construction of a swimming pool.
Well, that's a very long-winded question, Chairman. Let me start first of all by answering him in terms of I was in Oropuch in his constituency this weekend in a football tournament in Palmis, Block 7. They were asking for the MP, they didn't see him, but I represented you well down there, and I did the opening and closing and gave out the trophy. In fact, they were asking
and
for
you gave out the prize I donated.
Yeah. Right, that will be part of the list of grounds that we're looking at in terms of that, and we'll look at those two grounds. And in terms of the swimming pool, you'll be surprised. The ministry, we know in the infantile stage of it, and we'll get it right with regards to us moving forward. Who will be contracting, if anybody at all? Chairman?
You finished?
Yeah.
And 150, Minister, 150.
150 is one.
Laventille is also in Oropuch, as you know.
Yeah. Well, to answer, no, UDCOT hasn't been given any contract, and we hope that the 1.5 under our prudent and proper management will be able to complete
Construct a swimming pool?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good.
Right, Member for Shogunas West.
Madam Chair, it can fall under items 115, 131, or 137, but I'm dealing specifically with that the Walker Park in Caroni. Walker Park was developed and it reached a certain level of development with pavilion and seating accommodation by 2002. Subsequently, it was abandoned and remain abandoned. But it is a beautiful location, and I want to find out whether in any one of these items, the three line items I have quoted, whether the Ministry of Sport is going to look after the refurbishment of Walker Park, whether in a public sector, private sector partnership, because there are attempts to do that. I've had discussions with the chairman of the Tunapuna Piako Regional Corporation in that area, but certainly it needs a level of leadership from the Ministry of Sport in this area.
Yes. Chairman, and again, I'm glad Shogunas West is saying it. There are a number of projects that started that weren't completed, and there's one that we'll look at as well.
Member for Naparima.
Thank you very much. Item 094, construction of swimming pools. I see no monies have been allocated in the 2017 estimate except for Laventille. No problem with that. What I'd like to get is if you could give us the list of where swimming pools operated by the Ministry of Sports are located. And I could tell you here that none are in Naparima constituency, and if in the marathon, at what stage could we look forward? At what stage could we look forward to possibly having at least one swimming pool?
Noted.
So we could have Olympic swimmers from Naparima also.
Noted.
Member for Princess Town.
Madam Chair, to the Honourable Minister. Minister, going back to line item 100, development of a master plan for sport and youth facilities. To inform the work of establishing that master plan, I just wanted to get a sense from you whether or not you as a minister and the ministry has met with the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee to do a post-mortem analysis of the performance of the Olympic team in relation to the development of this master plan in terms of ventilating whatever shortcomings or challenges they would have faced during the Rio Olympics.
Yes, Madam Chair, through you, with the TTOC and with the Paralympics as well. We had a forum for the first time at the tennis center, a racket center, sorry, where we had all the stakeholders and TTOC was on board. And subsequently to that, I've met with the president several times and we're now finalizing a document, but we also have other meetings to have individually. So yes, thanks.
So it would inform the master plan that you speak
It will be part of the master plan, the results from those meetings, yes.
Honourable members, the question is that the sum of $325,366,379 for Head 68, the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs, stand part of the schedule. I skipped out nothing. I was on item 004, social infrastructure, page 343 to page 344. I looked up, nobody else was on the list, and therefore I continue. Honourable members, the question is that the sum of $325,366,379 for Head 68, the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs, stand part of the schedule. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The sum of $325,366,379 for Head 68, the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs now stands part of the schedule. I want to thank the Minister, his Permanent Secretary and his technocrats for their assistance. Now members, I know it's 4:40, but we've had the Statutory Authority Service Commission waiting for some time, and I would really want to suggest that we deal with them before we take the suspension for tea. And therefore I call Head 07, Statutory Authority Service Commission.
Public Administration page. Yes. We now proceed. Head 07, Statutory Authority Service Commission. Head 07, Statutory Authorities Service Commission, $4,423,100. I will now invite the Minister of Finance to make a brief opening statement, not exceeding. Oh,
it's all right.
Minister of Public Administration.
Defer to public admin.
Not exceeding 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Chairman. The Statutory Authority Service Commission is an independent body established by Act No. 16 of 1966. The mandate of the Commission, as outlined in Section 5 of the Act, is to appoint persons to hold or act in offices and to transfer, promote, remove, and exercise disciplinary control over persons so appointed. The SASC is celebrating its 50th anniversary as a public sector human resource agency this year. The statutory authorities which fall under the Commission's purview are 12 in number, includes the Arima Borough Corporation, the National Lotteries Control Board, the Point Fortin Borough Corporation, the Port of Spain City Corporation, the San Fernando City Corporation, and other agencies. In total, the Commission is responsible for 1,562 positions across all the authorities. The last fiscal year was focused on the compilation of a
master seniority list for all positions across the authorities, and I am available for your questions on how we proceed for the upcoming year.
Okay, welcome to the PS and the technocrats. Honorable members, the question is that the sum of $423,100 for Head 07 Statutory Authority Service Commission stand part of the schedule. Honorable members, the sum of $4,423,100 for Head 07 Statutory Authority Service Commission is comprised of monies proposed for expenditure under the following subheads and items to be found in the draft estimates of recurrent expenditure. Subhead 01, Personal Expenditure, page 36. Item 001, General Administration, page 36. Subhead 02, Goods and Services, page 36. Item 001, General Administration, page 36 and page 37. Subhead 03, Minor Equipment Purchases, page 37. Item 001, General Administration, page 37. Honorable members, the question is that the sum of $4,423,100 for Head 07 Statutory Authorities Service Commission stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those in favor say no. I think the ayes have it. Those against say no. Those against say no. My apologies. The sum $4,423,100 for Head 07 Statutory Authorities Service Commission now stands part of the schedule. Thank you, Mr. Minister. Okay, honorable members, we'll now suspend for tea and we'll return at 5:10. 5:10, members.
Oh, that's 25 minutes.
5:10, members.